shaken. Lesotho is not just unique to Africa, it is unique to the world. This is the uniqueness of Africa, and today we spotlight Lesotho, the kingdom in the sky. I'm Moyosore Adebi for SOUQ News TV.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. The conversation is still on fighting against the privatization of water in the continent of Africa. Now we have joining us in this session Akimbode Matthew Oluwafemi is the Executive Director of Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, a pan-African non-profit dedicated to advancing environmental justice, human rights, and corporate accountability. He also serves as the head of the Our Water, Our Right Africa Coalition, a continental network uniting community movements and civil society organizations in the campaign against water privatization. With more than 2 decades of experience in advocacy and policy engagement, Akimbode has been at the forefront of campaigns on climate justice, public health, and social equity. He is widely recognized for his leadership in defending public water systems and empowering African communities to demand transparency, accountability, and public participation in governance. Akimbode Oluwafemi, welcome to Just Africa.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining us. Our water,
Thank you.
our rights. What is that all about?
Thank you so much. Our water rights is a movement that we started in 2014, originally to challenge the attempt by the then Babatunde Fashola government to privatize water infrastructure of Lagos State. So it was initially, this is Lagos, our water, our life. And because of the success of that campaign, we went national, and again, we also began to look at other African countries that have similar fate. And so it then became our Water, Our Rights Africa Coalition, which is basically a movement of communities, civil society organizations, labor unions, peoples of conscience who are speaking against the attempt to, take over our water infrastructure, our public water system in Africa, and hand them over to corporations for profits. We strongly believe that water is human rights in accordance with the 2010 General Assembly resolution, and African governments should take whatever it takes to make safe, affordable, accessible water to all African citizens.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, it looks like this is almost becoming a norm in the continent of Africa, not just in the continent of Africa. When we spoke to Neil Gupta earlier on, I think he also referenced a scenario like that in America. What do you think is the driving force behind the government's intention, or government's intention, wherever they are, to privatize water infrastructure or water resources?
Well, I think for us specifically in Africa, we should know that Africa economy is being remote controlled by the World Bank, by the IMF. Culturally, water is treated as a common in African communities. But we have this neo-capitalist system that think that everything that makes human being to survive planet Earth has to be commodified, and profit has to be associated with it. We've also seen the marketing of loans to our governments in different forms and guise, for which privatization becomes one of the conditionalities for assessing those loans. So Yes, we do have uh, foreign companies coming to Africa in order to take over our resources, in order to exploit our continent. But they are also being backed by these financial institutions. They are being backed by some governments in the West who also continue to exploit whatever Africa has. So it's a combination of failure on our government and then the greed of multinational corporations backed by international financial institutions.
All right, thank you very much. Uh, you know, most times or anytime water run dries in African homes, the people, citizens, we go out and buy water and just to get water anyways. So the thing is, that is a form of privatization, but maybe not in a formal structure or without regulation and accountability. How do you explain privatization to someone who is already in this kind of situation? Like telling someone that privatization will be taking place or water will be privatized, and the person tells you, are we not buying water already? How do you explain that to an average citizen or someone who is used to buying water?
So one of the things that bad governance has done to us as a people is to normalize what is abnormal. For my generation, I grew up to know what is public water. I went through a secondary school, comprehensive high school, Ayedu Ekiti, where nobody goes to school with water because there is public water. You just walk to the tap and use your hands to drink water. When we're fortunate to come to the cities, we were in homes where public tap runs. And then gradually, then the taps went dry. People speak about the good days of Jakonde in Lagos, where public taps were running. And so, because there is no alternative to water, people must find ways to be able to survive. And so some of them became the communal helps, where whoever is able to do a borehole will assist his neighbor. And then some began to charge a little bit of money, maybe to continue to buy fuel. Don't forget that there are double jeopardy that there won't be electricity to charge. Now, when we're talking about privatization, we're talking about the big corporations that want to take over that entire structure that government originally was supposed to provide. And if you are following the trend in Lagos State, there was a time that Lagos State introduced a bill, and they knew that they must stop all this communal help because in Africa, look, I can take my bucket and come to your house and take water. And they want to completely make it illegal for you to dig borehole. They want to make it illegal for you to even go to another person's house and take water because they want everything now concentrated in private hands, in big multinational companies that can then charge as much as they want on that. What you're seeing and you're referring to as privatization is a symptom of the failure of government to make public water available.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So now another interesting question I want to ask here is that most times policymakers tell you that this privatization of water is an economic reform. What do you have to say about that?
I don't know how you're operating in your studio. I think privatization of electricity is also reform, but I doubt if you are currently running on public supply of electricity. So the thing is, we as Nigerians, we need to have deeper conversation when governments have they market some of these things to us. They come to tell us that this is going to bring is to stop inefficiency, is to make it accessible. I mean, today we've not seen any level of efficiency in the power sector. There are stories of failures of water privatization all across the world. What you normally see when water is privatized is there will be job losses. 640 staff of Lagos State Water Corporation were sacked last year. You see increase in rates Just like you've seen band A, band C, and bandit band in electricity in Nigeria, yet you don't have corresponding supply, then quality drops. And we're saying that we cannot afford that experiment with water. There are enough countries that privatization have failed. In fact, the global trend now is what is called remunicipalization, where countries, where even these corporations started from, like France, they are now, the communities are now beginning to take over, the public system, government, and now begin to democratically bring back this water supply within their fold. So we already know that water has no substitute, and that government should exist to protect, this very common good for all of us to use.
Now, this access to water had been a debate decades back, and it looks like, do you think, one, that we are making progress with regards to access to water? Do you think the public is really exercising some form of ownership over it? But that's just one. What I want to actually major on is that since time immemorial, the government have been the one that manages water and water supply, and a lot of people, both within the government, outside the government, in the private sector, and esteemed people like you also must have won, or in some time must have criticized the government for efficiency. And sometimes the government is telling you efficiency in water supply and access to water because we do not have substantial and sufficient investment into that same sector. And what the alternative that we have now is to bring it private ownership. But they will argue that it seems that you want to maintain the status quo of insufficiency.
Thank you for that very beautiful question. We as Nigerians have also criticized inefficiencies at the government level. Why has the government not folded up and handed over, let's say, Alausa or Aso Rock to private sectors to run? There's a proverb in my language which says cutting off the head is not actually the antidote or the medicine for headache. Another proverb, I'm a Yoruba man, says if a child falls, he will look ahead and an elder will look backwards. The question is, how did we get here? How did we move from the days of Jakonde, when there was public water everywhere, to now? Who mismanaged a public utility? Public utility can always be managed regardless of whether it is private or whatever they're claiming that they will do. However, these are excuses that governments used to give in order to sell our assets back to their friends and cronies. And we say water supply is completely different. We have asked that they should increase budgetary allocation to this water infrastructure. We have done a report specifically on Lagos, we've done on Africa, and we gave very clear guidelines about steps that Lagos State can follow to improve on water supply, part of which is to have a Lagos Water Trust Fund, training of staff and retraining. Then we have asked them to do partnership with public waters and learn how other peoples are doing it across the globe. The UN created an institution called GWOPA, where public water infrastructure operators can learn from each other. And we say, you can take advantage of this rather than selling our infrastructure into private hands where it will no longer be accessible to the poor. Everybody needs water. Everybody must drink water.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's move it. Access to water. It looks like people don't want to hold government responsible anymore. In your movement, how have you been able to mobilize people to give them this orientation and to create this atmosphere of awareness and how significant it is for water to be managed by the public institution if we are going to sustain or get to the promised land of water sufficiency and access to water, at least to the man at the ebb of society?
Thanks. The Our Water, Our Right campaign has very clear components. Component one, are the most significant and important, are the communities, because the communities are the receiving end. This campaign is about our people and how they have access to water. And so we have what is called water parliament, where we go to each community, sit down under the tree, sit down wherever is available, and speak about what are our common water-related problems. From that, we produce several reports, Iludun, the arts contamination, and the rest of them. In Lagos, for instance, we already have about 120 for the Lagos Water Campaign CSOs that are signed up in terms of building this movement. We spoke about the labor component of it and religious organizations. So we are creating the awareness. We are creating the movement. We've created, that's why as at this week, there are about 18 countries that have signed up to the Water Our Rights Coalition. Activities of the African Water Week is going to happen in about 8 to 10 African countries, relating from press briefing, rallies, and the rest of them. This movement to reclaim our water in where they will privatize and resist water privatization is an ongoing movement that will continue to get bigger and bigger.
All right, thank you very much. So what are the, in practical terms now, because sometimes when we talk about privatization, people don't really know the dangers that we stand, or that African countries stand against in the nearest future if it happens. So if peradventure the private individuals have access to the privatization, the government allows them to come and privatize water, are there dangers that African homes stand to face in the nearest future?
So for where water has been privatized, the first thing you get is there's going to be job losses. So let's say, for instance, people in water corporation, they're going to lay off a lot of staff, which they've started, let's say in Lagos State, by laying off 640 staff in one first sweep in Lagos State. There will be rates hike, and we don't need to go far. Electricity has taught all of us in Nigeria a lesson about privatizing public utilities. From what we've seen across the world in the case of water, the quality will go low because now it's about profits. You can possibly, about the case of Flint in the US. A movie is actually done about how their water was compromised, and Pittsburgh in the US, and so on and on. And the most important thing is actually the one they now call PPP, whereby when you look at it, they're actually not bringing in any finance because they use public funds to serve as a collateral for whatever investment they are bringing. And yet the state will continue to even pay them for like professional fees, technical fees, and the rest of them. So you don't even see any financial advantage to the states, but more profit now going into private hands. And we're saying, look, we've got to watch it. And citizens need to rise up and reject it. And I remember when we mobilized against the Lagos State the water law, I think it was started 2013. It was so bad that this law would criminalize.
Okay, Mr. Oluwafemi, I really hope to have you join us again. Maybe we can overcome that that glitch, network glitch there. Most people are completely unaware of how significant this conversation is about water and the access to water, and the fact that if it is captured by private hands, I'm intentionally using the word captured by private hands, you can be buying a bottle of water. The current bottle of water that we see today used to be sold for 50 naira.
Exactly.
Then the ice water or the pure water used to be sold. Sachet water was sold for
20 naira,
if not less.
Yes.
Then we moved. That bottled water was now being sold for 100 naira. Then pure water, the sachet water, actually moved to. And now you are buying the bottled water for 200 naira. And of course, sachet water too has moved in its price. Now, if you look at a bottle of the soft drink, it used to be sold for 200 naira. But as we speak now, it's now being sold for 500 naira. That's 500% increase. So if we privatize water, would not be surprised getting a bottle of water, either in the, if we use Lagos, Nigeria, could be 500 naira.
If not more.
If not more. And that is not good for the economy because like you said earlier on when we started the program, how can people afford this? The days they used to sell not even pure water, ice water.
Ice water.
So
I get that.
Yeah, so if people don't understand the significance of the financial and the economic implication and where this might, end.
Yes. Then another thing that I feel the government is not doing right is when they tell the citizens, the people, that the cost of water treatment, the cost of maintenance, the cost of this, when it's anything regarding water is high. I don't want to believe that. When billions of naira are being mismanaged, corruption has eaten deep into some sectors. Like he rightly said, that workers are being laid off right now because the government felt that yes, they're not doing anything. And I think I said something like that at the beginning of the show. Those working in water corporations, what are they really doing? Now, if the government is complaining that the cost of maintenance or the cost of water treatment, whatever the reasons are, because of that they want to privatize it, I feel that is not a good reason. But then, until water, just as our first guest said, until water is seen as human rights, it will not be prioritized by government, by policymakers. So most times you will agree with me that some policymakers are looking at the profits. So you were talking about bottled water being sold for 500 naira. I don't buy water. Most people right now don't buy water because the company you are, the house you rented, the owner, the landlord, the landlady has drilled a borehole, so you felt like, okay, I have water. Until the government tells the landlord or the landlady that water you drilled, that borehole you drilled, the water that is coming out of your compound is no longer yours. It is not for the government. That is when people will begin to understand the implication of water privatization. People who buy, I wish we can bring Shola here right now. Let Shola tell us the cost of I don't know how many kegs they put on the wheelbarrow to buy water. By the time you keep spending 5,000 naira a day for just water, then you will know that there is nothing like having water for free.
Okay. Well, I think to an extent also, there is something that is very, very lacking for us to cater to public asset. One thing that is very, very lacking, and I was going to ask Mr. Kimbode Matthew Oluwafemi that question, if he's able to join us again before we round up in the program, because we're already out of time. But the thing is this: if we have people in the continent of Africa and they have this mindset of the fact that public assets, we should have this disposition of communal and collective ownership toward it, so that to the extent that if the government had played its own role, or if it had not completely played its own role, that they had, okay, we heard that Kimbode Matthew Oluwafemi is back. Welcome once again. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you. Apologies for the connection issues.
Okay, it's fine. But before we go, I think myself and my colleague will try to ask you a few questions, and hopefully you can respond to that within 5 minutes or so before we leave. The question is, how can the public itself be informed for them to have this disposition and this orientation in their minds that, look, water or public asset as regards to water, we should have the disposition of collective ownership so that our actions and our inactions does not damage this infrastructure that has almost become a luxury in the continent?
Well, thanks very much. And I think I'll speak broadly and then take it back to water, which is essentially we must ask question. As citizens of this country, we should not stand by when government are bringing policies on us. We should dig deeper into it. We should be able to ask them for full disclosure, transparency in whatever they are doing. And as I said earlier, there are public services like water which cannot be commodified. There's a UN resolution on the rights to water, and citizens must organize and ensure that they protect that right to water and not allow government, under whatever guise, to hand it over to corporations. Additionally, is the fact that we also owe it a responsibility to stand up when government are doing what is wrong. Stand up to our legislators, to our parliamentarians, to state governors, and the rest of them, and demand what we think and believe will protect our human dignity, which is access to water in this particular case, because there is, as I've said earlier, no alternative to water. Absolutely none.
All right, thank you very much. So you have traveled far and wide. So I want to ask now, first of all, water scarcity is eating deep into the Africa continent. It's eating really, really, really deep. Now, and people are ready to turn to anywhere they feel that, oh, this problem can be solved, whether it is public, whether it is private. They are looking for solutions to this water. Now, the question is, do you think that the private sector will fail people if they eventually start the privatization of water in Nigeria and in Africa? Do you really think they will fail?
So, there's also a misconception. People think of, people should stop thinking of water as something that private corporations are bringing. So there is water here in Lagos. They are coming to, quote and unquote, manage. We're talking about the management of water, right? In fact, in most countries' constitution, water is already enshrined, and I think in our constitution, as a public property. So water belongs to all of us. The issue now is that governments now want to hand over this our private, public property into private hands. Do you understand? And so the private companies are not coming to reinvent water. They're not bringing water from France or from Europe or from Turkey like they have signed. They actually coming to manage that same water that is existing in Lagos. So the question or the conversation should be that our government should improve on their infrastructure to manage that water. Again, you're also absolutely correct when you say there are some countries where they're having water stresses. Take, for instance, South Africa. South Africa has water in its own constitution, right? And that's one of the major reasons why the theme for these years, Our Water, Our Rights campaign on resisting water privatization, is on water and climate resilience, because there is a nexus between water and climate change. There's a lot of activities that are leading to scarce water resources. And so we must use water management as a tool of responding to the crisis that we're having in climate change. That's the way we think we should move as.
But the government is complaining that they don't have enough funds for maintenance, for treatment of water, and anything that has to do with public water. So what do you have to say about this?
So it's just ridiculous that government exists to protect human lives. That's the first thing. I mean, every government say protect lives and property. And what is the most important thing to human life is water and air. Oh, so that's your first responsibility, your first line of call is what you don't have money for. It's basically hogwash. And take, for instance, a state like Lagos, that is like almost the sixth largest economy in Africa. I'm saying comparing Lagos as a city with other governments, other countries in Africa. They do have the resources. It's about prioritizing it and the fact that they really want to commodify it so that they can sell it to their private friends and cronies.
All right, in rounding up, your fight is against privatization of water, climate, food, and all of that. So in rounding up, there are multinational organizations too that their work actually decimate and desecrate, bring pollution to our water resources in the continent of Africa. How do you tackle these issues too?
They should be brought to accountability. Today's week, this week, what Africa Water Week is being, we are collaborating with Make Big Polluters Pay Coalition, which is a climate coalition. And we're saying that the principle of polluters pay should be applied. Corporations, individuals that are, desecrating our environment, that are damaging our, collective resources, they should pay. And government should stand up in place of the people to protect us from these corporations.
Thank you so much, Akimbode Matthew Oluwafemi. Thank you so much for your time with us today. It's been a fantastic conversation with you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Akimbode Matthew Oluwafemi is the Executive Director of Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, a pan-African non-profit dedicated to advancing environmental justice, human rights, and corporate accountability. He also serves as the head of Our Water, Our Right Africa Coalition, an international network uniting community movements and civil society organizations in the campaign against water privatization. With more than 2 decades of experience in advocacy and policy engagement, Akimbode has been at the forefront of campaigns on climate justice, public health, and social equity. Thank you so much. It's been a delight speaking with you this afternoon. Great.
Yeah.
Hope to see you some other time.
Yes, we really hope so.
Quite a robust conversation with the two guests.
Yes, so much. I love the fact that their efforts are not being wasted.
Yes.
Yes. So to a large extent, they've pushed the government to a certain corner compared to when they started the idea of saying they want to privatize water in Lagos, in Nigeria, and in Africa. Then I love the fact that he said that this week's water campaign, they are collaborating with weather organization.
Yes.
You understand? So I like the last question you asked him where you said, what should be done to those people who pollute our water?
Yeah, the multinationals.
It is very, 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 it is very, very good that those people are held accountable.
Great.
They should be questioned, and they should even desist from polluting our waters. They are killing our fishes.
Great.
I hope someday they don't privatize anyways.
Industrialization. Well, this is where we draw the curtain on Just Africa this afternoon. We're reaching you live from our studios, the commercial city of Lagos. And as we leave, I want to say, enjoy yourself. However, in this week, I wish you all the best. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SOUQ News TV. Oyin Priye Krumale, good afternoon to you.
And I am Omevi Idolo. Thank you for joining us.
At the Africa Development Study Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission, empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website www.adstudiescenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Wale Soyinka. Born Akiwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka on July 13, 1934, in Abeokuta, Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, stands as one of Africa's most celebrated literary figures and a global icon of resistance against oppression. His life and works reflect an unwavering commitment to justice, culture, and the transformative power of art. Soyinka was born into a Yoruba family in colonial Nigeria, an environment that exposed him to both traditional African culture and Western education. His father, Samuel Ayodele Soyinka, was a school headmaster, while his mother, Grace Eniola Soyinka, was a devoted Anglican. This blend of indigenous and colonial influences deeply shaped Soyinka's world. Soyinka attended Government College Ibadan and later proceeded to the University College Ibadan, where he studied English and literature. Soyinka completed his education at the University of Leeds in England, earning a degree in English and later a doctorate degree. In the late 1950s, Soyinka began working as a dramaturgist at the Royal Court Theatre in London. However, his passion for storytelling and cultural preservation drew him back.
human achievements, goal setting, hard work, and dedication have been proven to be some of the elements towards success. The journey of remarkable individuals with lasting impact on the world are often filled with manifold stories, but through determination, they build their lives and make extraordinary contributions. Join me on the story of a trailblazer in business and philanthropy, Aiboje Ig Mokwede, a lawyer turned banker who has done well for himself, made an indelible mark within the banking sector, and has continued in his ambition of touching lives within Nigeria and across Africa. Aiboje Ig Mokwede. Within the Nigerian business space and philanthropy, few names resonate and are respected profoundly. Such is Aiboje Ig Mokwede. If you're just watching, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great documentaries. Like, share, and comment. Known as a successful business mogul, banker, investor, and a philanthropist who cares about making difference, Ig Mokwede's story is one of hard work, creativity, and a desire to drive positive change across Africa. Born to civil service parents on September 24, 1966, in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria, he hails from Sabongida Ora, Edo State. Aiboje spent his formative years with his parents in Lagos, where he had his primary education at St. Saviour's School. He enrolled into Federal Government College, Kaduna, and at age 16, he was admitted to study law at the University of Benin, where he graduated at a young age of 19 with a law degree, displaying early signs of his exceptional intellect and drive. Called to the Nigerian bar in 1987, he started his career in 1988 as a lawyer at Continental Merchant Bank during his National Youth Service Corps NYSC year. In 1991, he joined Guarantee Trust Bank PLC, GT Bank, where he rose to prominence as an executive director. His big moment came in 2002 when he led the acquisition of Access Bank, turning it from a small regional bank into a big player, a banking powerhouse in the industry. Throughout his career, Ig Mokwede has taken on different leadership roles, including Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Access Bank until December 2013. He later became President of the Nigerian Stock Exchange and retired in 2017, but remains on the National Council. Bowing out of Access Bank, he was given a befitting send-off.
No man or combination of men could transform what we met in Access Bank in 2002 into what would cause this type of people to come and celebrate today.
His foresight and managerial acumen have brought him chairmanship and directorial roles in prominent organizations such as African Finance Corporation, Associated Discount House Limited, Petrolon Energy, among others, thereby contributing greatly to their growth and sustainability. work, they say, pays. Aigboje Mokwede's hard work earned him many awards and honors. He received the National Productivity Order of Merit Award in 2009, conferred with Commander of the Order of the Niger CON in 2011 by the then President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, during his administration for contributing to banking and finance. As a visionary leader, he was installed into the E&Y World Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame in 2011 as the EY West Africa Entrepreneur of the Year and named African Banker of the Year in 2013. These amounting to how much others values his leadership and ideas. He got honored by Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers of Nigeria. Beside his work, Aige Mokwede also gives back to society. This philanthropist is involved in efforts to improve governance and healthcare across Africa through his Aige Mokwede Foundation, making a positive impact on people's lives. He initiated the Adopt a Healthcare Facility program in 2019, and he is the chairman of ABC Health and director of the Private Sector Health Alliance of Nigeria. He is the founder of chairman of Coronation Capital Limited since 2015 and has contributed to the growth of the Coronation ecosystem. Coronation Capital Limited, with other arms of its businesses, also bettered Coronation Art Gallery in Lagos on the 13th of May 2022, a platform for showcasing exceptional works of art that embodied the essence of cultural significance and artistic expression. Aigboje Mokwede founded Coronation Art Gallery with the vision of democratizing art, foster appreciation and understanding for the artistic world, and making it accessible to a wider audience.
Bumi Augusto is, I knew Bumi when she was born. I know her parents, and I know all her siblings. She's a beautiful, wonderful, gifted Nigerian artist, and just like many of the others here. The piece behind me is a triptych, long throats, all up to longer throats. I actually thought that I was going to caption this collection. You know, this is really a microcosm of my entire collection, but I was going to capture it longer throats because this represents a lot of this collecting I did during COVID. Many of these pieces actually were not in Nigeria. I brought them home. I'll tell you something. I'm known for collecting masters, you know, the Enwonwus and the Yusuf Grillos and so on. I still do, okay? And I kind of stuck to that genre of classic. Those are the people who, when I was growing up, as I told you, those are the people who were my parents, either just older than them or contemporaries. So I grew up knowing these artists as my uncles, okay? So my first collecting was, you know, from works, you know, done by masters like that. After a while, you know, these works are really priced in. But Bumi Augusto, you know, her works, you know, which may appear even a bit pricey now, in 10 years' time, you know. So this is also hosted by Coronation, which are companies that are all about wealth creation. So there's also the investment angle. I don't collect for investments, but you know, with all that these great Nigerian and African artists, the young ones, have been doing, and the way their prices have been rising, you know, I've got to focus on investments now.
Collaborated with the Nigerian Civil Service to digitalize work processes and public service delivery in October 2021. Recognizing 43 public servants at the 2022 Civil Service Award ceremony on behalf of the Aige Mokwede Foundation with an encouragement of cash prize worth 500,000 naira for each awardees.
It is my understanding that annually 43 public servants will be recognized in this fashion. And so with effect from the 2022 Civil Service Awards ceremony, on behalf of the Aige Mokwede Foundation, we will be putting an endowment with effect from this award session, whereby each awardee receives a cash prize of 500,000 naira. And in the interest of digital culture, the credits will go directly to your accounts.
Among his many certifications, affiliations, and fellowships, Ige Mokwede holds Triumph MBA from the London School of Economics, New York University, and HEC Paris. He attended an executive management program at Harvard Business School in the year 2000, and he is a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, also appointed to the International Advisory Board of Oxford University's Blavatnik School of Government. Ige Mokwede is a honorary fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and had received an honorary doctorate of science from Olabisi Onabanjo University in 2018. Also honored by Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers of Nigeria last year in a groundbreaking ceremony.
If the operators of our markets, of a nation's capital markets, are properly resourced in terms of skill, capacity, and conduct, nothing can stop that nation and its citizens from leaving the tarmac and moving from third world to first world. Nothing can stop it. The correlation between the advancement of financial markets and the advancement of national economies is perfect. It's not almost, it is perfect. And so, you understand why I have tied myself to the future of this market and why I have tried from the very word go that my voice was heard to get the public sector and the elite within the private sector to understand that we cannot ignore this market.
Igboje is the first African co-chairman of the Global Business Coalition on Health and chairman of the Friends of the Global Fund, Africa. The business mogul has made significant donations to the Global Fund. He is the vice chairman of the Global Citizen Nigeria and creator of the Nigerian Solidarity Support Fund. There is always a story, or say many stories, behind every success, and this Ige Mokwede has shared in a book called Leaving the Tarmac, Buying a Bank in Africa, Red Door 2020. In it, he talked about how he and others turned Access Bank into a major success, showing his determination and vision.
On a personal note, I think the first thing is that I left Access Bank. I retired as CEO in 2013, and I knew that I needed time off just to recharge my battery, so to speak. I didn't think I would have more than a year and a half before my perpetual motion character, kind of took over once again. And so I wanted to use that period as productively as possible. So I had a year and a half, and what better to do in a year and a half, than write a book. And for me, it was an opportunity, for posterity to tell the story to my children in a structured sense, because before then, I just hadn't had the opportunity to sit down with my kids and say, this is what I did today, or this is what I did yesterday, and these are the highs and the lows of this journey. Herbert and I went through a hell of an experience between 2002 and 2013, and for him that experience has continued. We learned so much, we were exposed to so many things. We had really, really great mountains that we climbed. We scaled some pretty high heights and so on. And in a sense, it would be very selfish of us to, lock this up in a box and not share it with others, because I think our experience, can be used by any other person who has an ambition to go out there and do, whatever it is they seek, whatever it is they dream about. And so the notion of writing for posterity and recording this period in my life and probably more important, the notion of preparing a way for others, you know. Those are the things that drove me to write the book.
Ig Imokwede, former managing director of Access Bank Group, returns to lead Access Holdings, replacing Abubakar Jimo. His return after a decade aims to realize the shared vision of the late co-founder, Herbert Wigwe. Access Holdings PLC, trading under the Access Corp ticker on the Nigerian exchange, began to feel Igboje's progressive impact as its stock value increased by 1.52% following his appointments as chairman. Igboje Ig Imokwede is back again. Ig Imokwede is married to Ofovwe Ig Imokwede and has 4 children, namely Ohiozoje, Aima, Morenike, and Renown. He has been able to balance his family life with his professional achievements, setting an example as a leader and role model to many. He is an ordained minister of the Promised Land Ministry. In the annals of Nigerian business history, his story stands out, showcasing the power of vision, perseverance, and giving back to the community. From his humble beginnings to global recognition, he inspires others to dream big and make a difference. His legacy remains as he continues to make strides in business and philanthropy.
Yes, it's a beautiful day. It's a fantastic day. It's an awesome day. And we are super excited. Guess what? It is the Femi Walsh Prestige Partnership that is being flagged off right here at the Federal Palace Hotel. Oh my God.
Well, that thing sums awesomeness. We're being at a place where every conversation about Nigeria's independence happened, and then also thinking about royalty, you know, things that make us feel like we're kings and queens when we come into this place. I mean, I'm overseas. At this point.
You know, talk about the scenery, the ambience, the rooms. This hotel is actually really good. And the fact that Femi Walsh is partnering with Federal Palace Hotel doesn't just give me the chills, like it makes me happy. Happy.
We're going to be having exclusive events, coverage, and we're going to bring in our expertise to come and give them that edge amongst
that finesse.
Taking the brand globally through our media. My God, it's not something you want to miss out on this journey that I just started. We're going places, sis.
The Federal Palace Hotel was established in 1960 and constructed by the A.G. Leventis Group. Perhaps one of the most notable thoughts about Federal Palace is that it was used as the venue for independence celebration of Nigeria in 1960. Over the years, the Federal Palace has now become a world-class ultra-modern facility with a touch of elegance. The hotel, which has been recognized nationally and internationally, has become a tourist attraction for many. Perhaps this is the reason Femi Walsh Group decided to partner with the Federal Palace by supporting the hotel with resources and equipment for coverage of all the hotel's events. The president and CEO of Femi Walsh Group, Victor Oluwafemi Walsh, accompanied by the vice president, Idahosa Osamanze, paid a visit to the hotel during the exhibition of the popular Iriri Arts Gallery. A day of joy for each of the artists to see that the president of Femi Walsh Group was actually fascinated by their art pieces. coordinator of the Arts Gallery also expressed his enthusiasm and joy, highlighting the exciting prospects and opportunities arising from the partnership.
Thank you so much, SOUQ TV, for coming over. It is about celebrating art and creativity. We themed it Luxury and Legacies exhibition. Luxury, as we all know, art is luxury, and the legacies that are left behind by artists are their crafts. So that is why we themed it Luxuries and Legacies exhibition.
Ambassador Victor Walsh encouraged your artists while commending their creativity. The General Manager, Herman Britt, was excited at the collaboration between Femi Walsh Group and the Federal Palace Hotel, exchanged pleasantries with the President, and told SOUQ News TV about his joy.
The energy is fantastic, and the support that you've given us is absolutely superb. So, yeah, watch this space, and your support is valued, and I love the partnership that you guys give us. So, looking forward to the journey with you guys.
Other members of the senior management of Federal Palace who were on hand to receive the ambassador and members of the Femi Walsh team include Temitope Ifiodun, HR Manager, Billy Uguechi, Events and Banqueting Manager, Chef Chris Onyanu, the Executive Chef of Federal Palace, Oluwatoyin Sulaiman, Housekeeping Manager, Dr. Arogundade, Digital Sales Executive. Each of the senior management staff shared their feelings about the collaboration.
We're actually so excited about this partnership with SOUQ News. It's going to, be beneficial for both Federal Palace Hotel and SOUQ News. And we know that all our new offerings will be extended to the larger world. We are actually doing things differently now. Federal Palace is actually doing a lot of things differently now. Our staff are ready to give the best of the best services to our guests.
To cover our events and take care of Federal Palace in terms of media and all that.
The Femi Walsh Group, consisting of all the different subsidiaries like SOUQ News TV, the ALFM, Novacraft, and the Machinery, look forward to doing great things with Federal Palace Hotel as we kick off the Prestige Partnership.
We're going places, and yes, with Femi Walsh Prestige Partnership, what we want to do is make sure that we're giving the clients of Federal Palace the best of the best of the very best in terms of coverage, streaming, videography, photography. So if you have a wedding ceremony coming up, you got the birthday party coming up, whatever you have coming up, all you got to do is make sure you contact Femi Walsh, because we give you the best of the best, the best of the very, very best.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Keep watching.
My name is Uyai. I'm a textured artist, and keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Alexander Beja, and keep watching SOUQ News.
Karim Joseph Aramide is my name. I'm a visual artist, and I'm going to tell you this: keep watching SOUQ.
Hello, I'm Billy Macaulay Oguchi of Federal Palace Hotel. I'm the Banqueting and Events Manager. Keep watching SOUQ News.
I'm Temitope Ifidon, HR Manager of Federal Palace Hotel. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Interest in Nigeria's lithium reserves comes as countries worldwide scramble to secure supplies of the mineral which is essential for powering the green energy revolution. In this special report by Bayo Olaoye, the need to harness this resource for growth and development is examined, with the evolution of electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems. Lithium is a key component in the production of batteries for electric vehicles and renewable energy storage systems. And Nigeria is positioning itself to become a major player in the global lithium market. Nigeria's vast lithium reserves, valued over $34 billion, is no doubt attracting world attention, while lithium factories are springing up in different parts of Nigeria already. The attention of the international mining industry is also focused on lithium because it is critical raw material for the production of solar panels and electric vehicles. Analysts predict that global lithium market could grow robustly over the next decade, driven by the rapid adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy technologies. Data from a Global Future Market Insight showed that the lithium mining industry has emerged as a cornerstone of the clean energy transition, driven by the skyrocketing demand for lithium-ion batteries. The surge in lithium demand is driven largely by the electric vehicles market, which accounted for over 70% of the global lithium consumption in 2024, according to an Iranian-based research firm. With countries such as the United States, China, and members of the European Union pushing for next zero emission by mid-century, lithium demand is expected to escalate further. The federal government, indeed, the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, should intensify efforts geared at renewing and resuscitating the viable lithium industry in the country to its full potential. As Nigeria diversifies its economy into other sectors, the lithium industry offers hope and expectation that this sector would earn more revenue for the country. Nigeria should not just watch with folded arms, but must strive with the political will to develop and strengthen the country's vast lithium reserves.
Welcome to the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC. ADSC is an organization focused on training and research to advance sustainable development and growth in Africa. We exist to facilitate customized training, research, and study exchanges worldwide on leadership, management, and critical development issues. The center offers a platform for the exchange of ideas and best practices. Our comprehensive services encompass research, consultancy, capacity building, training, and education programs, as well as publishing and disseminating development-related knowledge. Our faculty consists of experts and researchers with extensive experience in policy formulation, implementation techniques, and monitoring and evaluation. Our methodology involves talks, individual and group exercises, games, video screenings, and discussion seminar sessions in a cozy atmosphere, making learning enjoyable for our participants. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website at www.adstudiescenter.com to learn more about our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
hail from Lagos State, from Isaleko. My father hailed from the Olumegbo family. I attended my primary, secondary education in Ibadan at the time because my mother was there. But my religious practicing was always done during the holidays at Holy Cross Cathedral. I was working in the sacristy. We used to prepare for the Mass on Saturdays, and we sell the news magazine on Sundays in front of the church. And I remembered fondly that we used to tease a man called Sunday Boku Boku at that time, and he used to run to chase us and throw stones at, how dare you call me Sunday Boku Boku. Those were fun times. Harvest, Corpus Christi. And I was born, raised, baptized, confirmed, married in the Catholic Church. But I got married to Engineer Larry Phillips, who is an Anglican. And I believe that in togetherness of family, it's best we all do things together. So I moved over with him against the doctrine of Catholic Church to the Anglican Church at Marina, where his family belongs and worships. I attended St. Luke's Demonstration School. We used to climb the mango trees, and there was a mixed school. We used to play at during break time. And in my secondary school was a Catholic school, and it's for you to be prim and prudish in life, and set you on as a lady. And I got some finesse from there too. And but the most interesting one, and the most that I can call a radical one, was my HSC in Olivet. I mean, we tried all sorts there. But it was fun and highly educative too. Sportsmanship was there. And from there, I proceeded abroad for my accountancy. And I was lucky to finish in a record time, and I came back. Did my articleship, but married in between. I met my husband abroad, and we came back home, got married in Nigeria. I worked as an accountant with UAC, very proud of the drill professionally that I got from UAC. It had set me on a discipline for working, and I thank God that I had that opportunity, which still helps me today. Apart from the fact that my educational background sets me to be a diversified person in so many professions. And as an accountant, accountancy is the best of all, is the creme de la creme, and I've been able to fulfill my professional exposure in every species of responsibilities that I had opportunity to take upon me. And from UAC, I proceeded to work for the bank. I went to politics. I became a commissioner in Lagos State, served with the present president of Nigeria. And you know how Lagos is. Lagos is like a country to other states. We went through governance. My team, as you can see, I have some of my colleagues in Abuja now. I have Honorable Minister Wali Edun. I have Honorable Minister Dele Alake. I have Honorable Minister Yemi Cardozo, and so forth. And I served in the bank as a director in Keystone. I've been a chairman of so many committees. You can say that again. In different aspects of life. Professional, political, social, and currently I'm now the chairman of SOUQ Insurance PLC. When I was growing up, it was so free and enjoyable. We can take off at 11, 12, escort your friends to Bangboshe here. We go and have the Mosa. You go to the stadium. I remember me in my teenage age, I used to go to Nikon Stadium here. We watch so many matches, and I used to be with those fans, dancing and waving our fans, and bazaars, Easter Mondays, Fela Sports, you name it. It was fun. But Lagos was good for all of us. It was cleaner. It was amazing. Security isn't much to fear, You can just live the way you want. And money and values of life are completely different to what they are today. I was with my grandparents, and we had so many tenants, and we didn't realize they were tenants. We were all playing together, eating together, and we are still like one family today. But the story is not the same again. I wish one can turn around and change it, but we have all given our kids sheltered life for the fear of unknown. And I think the disadvantage is very grievous. I think first and foremost, God gave me the chance, the opportunities to pass through that in the journey of life. It's not only money that can make you successful in life. I want you to get that. It's an added support for you if in life you have the opportunities of parents who can financially support you. But at the same time, there are kids who didn't have any financial support and have been successful. So to me, success is about self-determination. I grew up around uncles and aunties who are thoroughly educated, and I've always had it behind my ambition that I must be in that cadre. And thank God the opportunity was there for me, and I seized it. And I remember myself telling my kids, when I was abroad, I never lived like my father was a rich man. No. I was behind the desk reading and reading till I got successful. And I passed in record time. First and foremost, I think I'm a people's person. Secondly, my educational background. Thirdly, my pedigree. And you can't be a Lagos person and don't have a bit of intelligence about how you can maneuver yourself, even in the midst of challenges. And I can tell you that boardroom politics, especially when you're a woman, is tough. Well, when you manage those that you sit around with, eventually, when they see that you're there to work, right, it has no business and basis for any other thing. I've had issues on boards because I'm female, and I put my foot down. It is the work we are doing. There is no gender sensitivity in this issue. Even in my early days as an accountant, when I had the accounting department, it was even tough at that level because the young accounting class, some of them can be daring to say, how can you talk to me like that? How can you make it? And I'll say, please, what do you mean? We need to get this target work done. So it's the work that is talking. That's not to do whether I'm a man or a woman. So I will like the idea of gender reasonableness to be better played. At least for now, we are not having it at 3 1/3, no. But I guess we are in the region of 20%. And it should be better. You give a woman a chance, she will devote her life to it. But, I mean, when we have 1 or 2 issues from women who have been there, that should not create hurdle or boundary that you say a woman shouldn't cross. No. Nobody is perfect in life. And I want to let you know, it's tough for a woman. These men, when it is a woman having a corrective measure to be taken, they do not handle it the way they do for the men. They are in a rush to pack the woman out. You see from what has happened all over the world. So I will still make an appeal that women should be given better chances, better allowances. It's so quick to make a woman a scapegoat, the sacrificial lamb. Let's take it easy. And please, women, when they put you there, make us proud. I should remember the other women coming after me. If I make this trouble now, they turn around and say, this is why we don't give them the chance to get to the top. So you manage the situation, you know? And let us remember that Africa is still very chauvinistic. It's still a man's world here. We are only trying. So just give us, for now, our required 33 1/3% as per Beijing recommendation. Having been in politics, there are so many factors that bring you up there. Some sensible, which I would call sensibilities. Some sensitive based, which I would call sensitivity. And some as per geographical distribution. If it's not the turn of your section, your district, there's no way they can put you there. But then sometimes it's the turn of your district, the party supremacy decrees that they don't want to use you. What do? You have to show some resilience as a stable character and do whatever you are given very well. Excel. Somehow, one day, you'll be there. Like Martin Luther King. At the end of that tunnel, I can see the light. Someday, somehow you get there. I was in tourism shortly, and it's not enough time to propagate the excellence of your work. But in special duties, I give the ministry class. I was able to represent my Lagos State very well. NYC was under me. Proudly, I served. And we ensure that all students that need to go to orientation camp are well registered and got their NYC certificates. It's not about where they put you, it's about what you are able to do in that place. And you do it even to the enviable eye of somebody who believes has the best ministry with a lot of funding and allocation. I'm different in that respect. A hard-working man, a man with a lot of sagacity, a man that is very kind, he has human kindness in his heart, a man that is highly focused. My office was very close to the Roundhouse, and I tell you, I wasn't surprised. And I kept telling everybody, I wasn't surprised he got a clinch that position, because I knew that even when in 99, from the day we stepped in, he's been working towards his election in 2003. So a man like that who is focused, his business is the end of the tunnel. All the distractions you are given, it's not, he doesn't consider it. So don't waste your emotions. You know, when you provoke yourself unnecessarily, and the person you are provoking yourself upon is not even responding on that line, you know you're wasting your time. But he's an astute politician. He knows what to do at every point. And don't try him, because he's a hard knock. And he's easy to forgive. That bit, I don't know how he does it, but it's easy to forgive and move on. He understands politics, maybe from a young age, I don't know, but he seems to have the knack of it at all times. I think that's in the pipeline. I don't have to come here to say that. And even in the insurance company industry that I am now, I'm propagating that, look, you need to take it easy. Is it at these hard times you want to recapitalize the industry and make life harder? Yes, recapitalize, but not with large gap. You know, the variance should not be too much, because you need to recapitalize so that companies will be solidly based to address financial issues and risk issues that we have in the country today. I studied religion for my A-levels in school. I did divinity. It's not just reading Bible. The interpretation, the history, the analogy, all of that I did. And it has helped to shape me for life. It has molded my conscience to a large extent. What I see in religion today, if I go back to the way I have studied religion, I will say I'm worried. The way we have churches established in this country now. I'm talking of my experience in Lagos State. On the street, you can find 6, 8 churches, but there is no school. Education is key. Religion molds the character, the moral values about life. I'm not saying they are all totally condemned, but I think there should be more conferences and seminars to appeal to their conscience. It's one God. And in Lagos, the families, both Christian and Muslims, and the third religion, which is the native religion, we all interact and live together. And usually you find out that all of them talking about this God. I am a Christian. I talk about my God. And I don't denounce anyone in any other religion that faithfully talk about their God. And I don't allow that to affect a lot of decisions that I have to make, and didn't affect a lot of decisions that I had made. The expectation is too high. We are still a developing country. The awareness of covering up your risk is not too much there. In terms of life insurance, in terms of property, people are not still there. People don't cover themselves well enough. They take unnecessary risk. I'm glad Lagos State Governor is saying everybody must have a health insurance now. That, again, will expand the scope of the insurance business. In insurance, there are so many seminars, there are so many conferences that are being put up there now, where the ability to educate the masses, and even the high-ups one, to please insure yourself. And when I say yourself, your life, your property, your children, and see how far it goes. It is important. And you know, in this era of insecurity, it is highly important. Just make sure you insure yourself. And with what the governor had proposed now, definitely Governor Sanwo-Olu did well. Health insurance is key. Health is wealth. First and foremost, inflation all over the world has gone haywire. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Those who live in the Western world, they're crying hula baloo about the price of petrol, the price of even eggs. So it's not just Nigeria. Let us wake up and see that we're in a global world and everything is intertwined. The issue of the central bank now trying to manage inflation, these are not easy times all over the world. They're not easy times. And when I say we are a developing country, we are still trying very hard. I don't want to say it's sad. It depends on the environment. You know, you can't just bring UAE here into Nigeria. The environment here from inception has not delved too much on tourism. Your tourism is just go on holiday and go back. The beaches are there. And even from 1999, they are trying to redevelop along the beach so that tourist activities can happen. And I'm sure they're still on it. They need tourist attraction where you have every aspect of life when tourists come over. But with the problem of infrastructure that we have, in the country. You can't do much tourism for now. It wasn't easy, but as I said, once you try to be a bit methodological about it, then you get by. Because from the days I came back from England, starting a family, working in large corporations, it just ensured that the home front solidly settled. And it wasn't that easy, because you know that I'm talking of almost 40 years back. To be able to excel amidst men, you probably have to do 2 times, 3 times more than them. I'm lucky I have a husband who accepts me being what I am. Because if you have a partner that does not appreciate your ambition and your dream, he will not support you. But I have the support of my husband, and we are able to keep the home together. Make sure that his food is given. Make sure the kids are well looked after. And make sure the husband is well looked after at all times. And don't grudge. Try to give myself to people in terms of needs. I try to recognize people's needs, and at the moment of that need, I try to help. And it's a legacy I try to sound to my kids at all times. Recognize needs at that point and do it. Because at the point that you recognize it, if you don't offer the assistance, it may not be meaningful again. But if at the time that a need arises,
Hello and welcome to World News on SOUQ News Television. I am Olumide Shukoya. Let's begin with today's top stories. President Tinubu arrives in Rome for a Akaba summit focused on tackling escalating security challenges in West Africa. Livestock farmers urge federal government to grant firearm licenses for self-defense amid rising attacks. Algeria signs $5.4 billion oil and gas exploration deal with Saudi Arabia's Midad Energy. President Trump escalates global trade war as reciprocal tariff hits 69 nations. In the world of sport, UEFA target record €5 billion deal as Netflix seeks right to stream one Champions League match per round from 2027 to 2028 season. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in Rome, Italy, ahead of the Akaba Process Heads of State and Government meeting, which will focus on addressing the escalating security challenges in West Africa. The presidential aircraft landed at the Rome Fiumicino International Airport around 7:20 p.m. local time Sunday, where the president was received by senior Italian officials, members of Nigeria's diplomatic corps, and top aide. The high-level meeting, scheduled to open tomorrow, will convene heads of state and government, senior intelligence and military officials from across Africa, alongside representatives from intergovernmental and non-governmental organizations to develop coordinated strategies for regional stability and counterterrorism. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has announced that the federal government will establish a new pre-shipment inspection agency for the solid minerals sector to combat leakages and improve revenue generation. Speaking at the press briefing ahead of the 10th Nigerian Mining Week scheduled for October 13 to 15, 2025 in Abuja, Alake said the initiative is part of a wider regulatory and policy reforms designed to strengthen transparency and accountability. He noted that the new framework will ensure proper monitoring of mineral export, enhance data accuracy, and secure more revenue for the government. According to him, the move reflects the administration's commitment to sanitizing the ministry industry and positioning it as a major contributor to Nigeria's economic diversification efforts. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, has revealed that 11 crude oil cargoes offered to local refiners within a month were left unclaimed, despite their persistent complaints about crude shortages. NUPRC Chief Executive Benga Komolafe, represented by Boma Ayeteguba, described this during a panel session at the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria Summit in Lagos. Komolafe stated that while domestic refineries often lament the lack of feedstock for local processing, records from the Commission show that crude oil allocations were consistently provided under the Domestic Crude Supply Obligation Scheme. He stressed that the Commission remains committed to ensuring adequate crude supply for Nigeria's refineries to support local production and reduce dependence on imported petroleum products. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adegboyega Oyetola has pledged to collaborate with International Container Terminal Services, ICTSI Incorporated, and other credible private investors to unlock Nigeria's vast maritime potential and position the country as a leading hub in Africa. Oyetola said the partnership with the ICTSI stems from the country's significant investment and contributions to the nation's maritime development. He stressed that the government's commitment to maintaining a business-friendly environment that promotes private sector innovation and participation across the blue economy value chain. The minister made this known when a high-level delegation from ICTSI paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja. He added that strategic collaborations with global maritime players like ICTSI are key to expanding port efficiency, creating jobs, and boosting Nigeria's competitiveness in the global trade. Livestock farmers have appealed to the federal government to grant them licenses to carry firearms for self-defense as attacks by bandits, cattle rustlers, and armed gangs continue to escalate across rural communities. The farmers say they have become prime targets in remote grazing areas and that carrying weapons has become a matter of survival, given the inability of security agencies to effectively curb violent incursions threatening lives, livelihoods, and the nation's food supply chain. In Ogun State, small-scale ranchers have particularly lamented the growing insecurity. Last week, a Riverville ranch at Mile 8 of Bafemi Owode local government area was attacked by armed men who stole three cattle. The owner, Dr. Adetunji Oyedele, said none of his workers were harmed, but stressed that livestock farmers now operate under constant fear and economic loss. The Lagos State government has announced the construction of the $3 billion Green Line Rail project connecting Marina to Lekki Corridor and will begin December 2025. The disclosure was made by the Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiemi, in a statement posted on his official X account of the state government on Monday. Oshiemi explained that the comprehensive feasibility study and stakeholder consultations have been concluded along the Lekki-Ekpe corridor to ensure a smooth and well-coordinated execution. He said that the Green Line Rail is part of the state's broader transport master plan aimed at easing congestion, improving mobility, and supporting economic activities in Lagos' rapidly expanding urban district. The commissioner added that the project will complement the existing blue and red line systems, creating a more connected and efficient transport network across the country. When completed, the Green Line is expected to offer residents a fast, affordable, and eco-friendly means of commuting across major economic hubs. Now, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Order-Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has convened a one-day workshop in Lagos to strengthen accountability and transparency across Nigeria Local Government Council. The workshop taking place on the 13th of October with the theme, The Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption, brings together key stakeholders under the joint collaboration of the Federal Ministry of Justice, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Bureau of Public Procurement and Bureau of Public Procurement, Conduct of Bureau, and the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity, with support from the European Union-funded Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption ROLAC 2 program. The initiative follows the recent judicial pronouncement reaffirming local government as independent tier of government. It aims to build the capacity of local officials for effective governance and service delivery. While the workshop is still ongoing, facilitators from ICPC, Olusegun Adigun, and the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, Barrister Makonjuola Adeshino, emphasized integrity, transparency, and due process in local administration and procurement, warning that any breach of the law would attract sanctions. Organizers say the joint agency effort is part of Nigeria's broader national anti-corruption agenda to institutionalize accountability and strengthen governance at the grassroots. At the intersection of science, artistry, and technology, dentistry is evolving fast across the world. Leading the transformation is Prital Dental Lab, a world-class dental laboratory known for its redefining dental craftsmanship and innovation. Established in the year 2000, the global brand continues to extend its footprint across continents. It mobilized dental practitioners in Nigeria, 4 Point by Sheraton, Lagos, Victoria Island, Lagos, for a hands-on training and certificate program to elevate their dental practice to a global standard. Correspondent Oyinpriye Krumale reports.
Here in Nigeria, dental professionals and technicians are converging for the intensive dental laboratory training organized by Prital Dental Lab, a name synonymous with precision, excellence, and advanced technology in dental care.
Prital Dental Lab, one of the foremost dental laboratories in the world, known for excellence in dental craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology, is mobilizing dentists across the world for hands-on training, clinical insights, and certification programs to elevate their dental practice using world-class dental solutions.
I love it, everything. I love Nigeria. This is the first time in Nigeria. I hope more times, inshallah. Every dentist friendly, everything good. I like it, Nigeria.
From Dubai to Nigeria, because we bring the new technology here in Nigeria and Lagos, and we make this event, and it's very important event for all the dentists in this field, working in this field, because we need to go level up by the dental field, how to do preparation, how to do cementation, and how to use the new technology, how we give our patients the service much better, and the final result will be more attractive for them. Of course, we do a lot of Dubai, and when you come here, we need to just transfer our experience and technology here in Dubai, here in Nigeria and Lagos.
With a mission to enhance smiles and improve the quality of life for patients, Prital Dental Lab specializes in the creation of high-precision dental prosthetics and restorations using some of the world's finest materials and digital systems. Founded 25 years ago, the laboratory has grown into an international network with operational branches in Nigeria, Tanzania, South Africa, Egypt, Belgium, Brazil, Dubai, Iraq, Holland, and Germany, offering top-tier dental solutions that meet global standards. At the training in Nigeria, Participants were introduced to cutting-edge dental technologies, from digital impressions and computer-aided design systems to zirconia-based prosthetics and full arch restorations. Experts said this knowledge transfer is helping bridge the technological gap in dental laboratories across Africa.
Why we are here in Nigeria is that because we are here with two products that no other West African countries are doing presently now, which is the Plo veneers and the Plus veneers. So we are bringing it into Nigeria, and we are happy that most dental practices are very, very eager to partner with us and send all their jobs to us in Dubai. So we are bringing in something that is new to the country. So every dental practices, you see all of them coming in because they want to learn new things, they want to learn new technology. So, and we're actually here to support them so that they can learn.
Pretau Dental Laboratories country manager says the initiative is not just about technical skills, but about empowering African professionals to deliver smiles that are both aesthetic and functional.
Well, the days of just doing whitening appear to be over. You know, the challenge with whitening is that over time, the teeth gets darker. But with veneers, even if it's, as long as the veneer is in your mouth, same shade, nothing changes. And then with a sparkle, it's even better. So I think I'm impressed by what I've seen today. And it's something that most dentists in Nigeria will want to key into.
I've been in dental practice since 2009. And I've been thinking of how to improve my skills. And I've thought veneers would be a brilliant thing for me to do. And giving me this opportunity has shown me that you can continue to learn for life. I'm quite impressed with what I have gotten today, and I hope we can get more of this as time goes on.
Without dental lab, they are geniuses in the dental industry. And with all I've seen today, I'm sure it's just the tip of the iceberg. I am very sure and very certain that my dental jobs, are in the best hands. Yes.
As technology continues to transform healthcare globally, initiatives like this by Pretau Dental Laboratories are ensuring that Africa's dental industry does not remain behind, but leads with innovation, precision, and excellence.
It has been an eye-opening moment speaking with dentists that came for the Pretau training session on how to further their practice, on how to further their career. They've mentioned quite impressive moments they had with the scientists that came into Nigeria for this enlightening moment. And you know what? Nigeria should be ready, and Africa. I am Oyepriye Krumale, reporting for SOUQ News Television.
We're on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay tuned.
Fellow Nigerians, did you know that constituency and executive projects in your communities are not gifts from your legislators? They are projects sponsored by the legislators and funded by the federal government to improve your life and the lives of those around you. These projects belong to you. Without your vigilance, they might never be completed. Don't allow them to fade away into unfulfilled promises. Stand up, take ownership, monitor their progress, demand accountability, and report concerns to ICPC. Call our toll-free line now on 0800-2255-4272 or WhatsApp only on 0806-656-4726. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, with support from MacArthur Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Development in Africa, CDD.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines, from breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by FemiWatch Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage, and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Kene. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Welcome back to the World News on SOUQ News Television. Now, Algeria's state-owned energy giant, Sonatrach, has entered into a $5.4 billion agreement with Saudi Arabia's Midad Energy for oil and gas exploration and exploitation in the Elysee Basin, according to reporters. The 30-year contract with an option for a 10-year extension marks one of Algeria's most significant recent energy partnerships and underscores its strategy to attract more foreign investments into the hydrocarbon sector. The deal also includes a 7-year exploration period aimed at expanding production capacity and boosting national energy export. Industry analysts say the agreement strengthens Algeria's ties with Gulf energy sectors while positioning Midad Energy for a stronger footprint in North Africa's growing upstream market. The collaboration is expected to create new exploration opportunities, enhance energy security, and contribute to the diversification of both nations' economic interest in the global oil and gas landscape. Africa's mining market is projected to grow from $508.33 billion in 2024 to $847.63 billion by 2031, expanding at a compound annual growth rate of 6.6%, according to a new report by Verified Market Research. The study highlights that Africa accounts for 30% of global mineral wealth, with vast deposits of cobalt, platinum group metals, gold, and rare earth elements, all vital to green industrial and digital economies. Rising global demand for these resources continue to fuel Africa's mining expansion, drawing strong interest from multinational companies. The report noted that the foreign investors are increasingly targeting the continent's mineral-rich regions to secure supplies essential for renewable energy technologies, electric vehicles, and advanced manufacturing. India and the United States are resuming trade negotiations this week as New Delhi seeks to boost energy imports from Washington and ease tension over its Russian oil purchases. Talks had stalled in August after U.S. imposed higher tariffs on Indian goods, but diplomatic engagements between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi revived discussions in September, according to senior officials. India plans to expand purchases of United States liquefied natural gas and other energy products while encouraging American private investment in its renewable and nuclear sectors. Both countries are working towards finalizing the first phase of their bilateral trade deal next month, targeting a $500 billion trade volume by 2030. The trade dispute had hurt Indian exports, particularly in textile, germs, and food products, leading the government to diversify export markets. A growing energy partnership is expected to balance trade flows, strengthen economic ties, and support India's transition towards cleaner and more diversified energy resources. Now, South Korea is holding talks with the United States on setting up a bilateral foreign exchange swap line to address currency concerns tied to a proposed trade deal. Finance Minister Koo Young-chul said on Monday. He explained during a parliamentary session that discussions are exploring different formats of swap arrangements, including a conditional line to cushion the effect of U.S. investment on South Korea's currency market. Koo estimated South Korea's maximum annual direct investment in the United States at around $20 billion, far below $350 billion agreed in July, noting that most of the larger figure would involve loans and guarantees rather than upfront payments. U.S. President Donald Trump had previously indicated the investment would be made upfront, raising concerns in Seoul over its foreign exchange reserves. Foreign Minister Chu Hyun added that in positive signals from Washington, while the presidential office confirmed receiving a response to Seoul's revised proposal, which included a request for a swap line. The trade deal is expected to be formalized at the Asian Pacific Summit in Yeonggu later this month, when Trump is also set to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. A growing wave of Chinese food and beverage brands is transforming Singapore's dining landscape as firms flee China's fierce price wars and sluggish consumer spending. Over the past year, brands like Lurkin Coffee, Mixio, and Nyonggang Ji have opened hundreds of outlets in Singapore, using the city-state as a test ground for global growth. The number of Chinese brands in Singapore jumped from 32 in May 2024 to 85 this year, operating more than 400 restaurants and cafes. According to the consultancy Momentum Works, industry experts say rising costs and weak domestic demand in China are pushing companies abroad, while Singapore's cultural familiarity, wealth, and global reputation make it a strategic launchpad for Southeast and Asia and beyond. Firms are leveraging lean businesses models and advanced automation developed during China's competitive market years to deliver efficiency and affordability. However, the influx has sparked concern among local businesses who say deep-pocketed Chinese entrants are driving up rents and squeezing smaller operators. Despite criticism, the surge threatens Singapore's local culinary diversity. Industry watchers predict even more Chinese brands will continue to expand through Singapore into Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Western markets. China's consumer inflation dropped below the central bank's 2% target range for the second time this year, reinforcing expectations of an interest rate cut as economic growth slows under pressure from high United States tariffs. Data from Statistics Ministry on Monday showed consumer prices rose by 1.54% in September compared to the same period last year, slightly above economists' forecast of 1.50%. The index had climbed 2.07% in August, marking the first rise after 10 months of decline. The latest figures suggest easing price pressures across food and fuel categories, providing the Reserve Bank of India with more flexibility to loosen monetary policy. Analysts said the continued fall in inflation may prompt policymakers to consider a rate cut to stimulate growth in the coming months. India's economy has been struggling with reduced export competitiveness following new United States tariffs measures and weakening domestic demand. With inflation now comfortably below the bank's target, market expects central bank to signal a dovish stance in its next policy review to support investment and consumer spending. We'll take a breather here now. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay tuned.
Elon Musk is a visionary entrepreneur leading innovative ventures in technology, space exploration, electric vehicles, and renewable energy. Musk was born on June 28, 1971 to a South African engineer and his mother, a Canadian model and nutritionist in Pretoria, South Africa. His talents for computers and entrepreneurship emerged early, and at age 12, he created and sold a video game. Musk studied physics and economics at Queen's University and the University of Pennsylvania. In 1995, Musk founded Zip2, sold to Compaq for $307 million. He also co-founded X.com, which became PayPal, acquired by eBay for $1.5 million in 2002. Driven by a vision for humanity's multiplanetary future, Musk founded SpaceX in 2002, developing affordable rockets to support International Space Station mission and NASA's Artemis program. He became a major investor in Tesla 2004, launching electric vehicles like Roadster, Model X, and Model 3. Tesla unveiled the Cybertruck, beginning deliveries in 2023. Musk acquired X, formerly known as Twitter, in 2022, aiming to enhance future and transparency. Musk has at least 12 children from multiple relationships, including Justin Wilson, Tallulah Riley, Grimes, and Siobhan Zilis. Through SpaceX, Tesla, and other ventures, Musk shapes technology and innovation globally, and his influence extends beyond business into politics and culture.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event, and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it's never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
Welcome back to the World News on SOUQ News Television. Now, the United States has intensified its global trade wars as President Donald Trump's sweeping reciprocal tariff order on 69 trading partners takes effect, raising import duties between 10% and 41%, the highest in a century. The move has injected fresh volatility into global markets and reignited trade tensions with major economies including China, India, and the European Union. From October 14, new tariffs up to 25% will apply to imported timber, furniture, and cabinetry, while November 1st, a 100% tariff on all U.S.-bound export from China and new export controls on critical softwares will take effect. Further hikes are scheduled for January 2026, targeting trucks and manufactured goods from countries without trade agreements. Analysts warn that the measures could trigger retaliatory tariffs, disrupt global supply chains, and strain trade relations amid slowing global growth. Washington's renewed protectionist stance underscores Trump's focus on bilateral deals over multilateral trade frameworks, reshaping global commerce ahead of the 2026 fiscal year. Oil prices regained strength on Monday after falling to 5 months low as investors anticipated renewed trade talks between the presidents of the United States and China. Brent crude futures rose by 1.47% to $63.65 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate gained 1.51% to $59.79. The rebound followed steep losses last week, triggered by escalating tariff threats and temporary Gaza ceasefire that eased supply fears. Analysts at DBS and Goldman Sachs said market sentiment is now being supported by both the nations' willingness to negotiate before the November 10th trade truce deadline. The United States President Donald Trump recently threatened to impose 100% tariffs on all China-bound exports, while China expanded export controls on rare earth minerals. However, expectations of a possible meeting between Trump and Xi Jinping at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum have boosted hopes of a de-escalation. China's crude imports in September rose by 3.9% year-on-year to 11.5 million barrels daily as refiners maintained high utilization rates. Energy experts say the recovery in oil prices reflect market optimism that renewed diplomatic engagement could stabilize trade flows between the world's largest energy consumers and support oil demand in the final quarter of 2025. British Finance Minister Raquel Reeves has been urged to undertake a comprehensive reform of the United Kingdom's taxation system rather than merely increasing tax rates, according to a report released on Monday by the Institute of Fiscal Studies, IFS. The think tank advised Reeves to use the upcoming November budget to modernize the system, arguing that structural reform would help raise more revenue with minimal economic disruption. The IFS warned that relying solely on tax hikes could generate the estimated £30 billion needed to stabilize public finances, could hurt the investment, productivity, and household incomes. Analysts say Reeves faces mounting pressure to balance fiscal responsibility with economic growth as she seeks to deliver on a pledge to restore the United Kingdom's financial credibility. The IFS suggested simplifying the tax code, broadening the base, and addressing inefficiencies as key steps towards a more sustainable fiscal strategy. Australia is developing a critical mineral reserve strategy that will emphasize selling future productions rather than maintaining a fiscal stockpile. The policy is expected to be finalized before the end of the year and aims to secure long-term supply chains and strengthen the country's position as a key strategic supplier to global partners. The reserve, valued at around 1.2 billion Australian dollars, is expected to be operational by the second half of 2026 and will focus primarily on heavy rare earth elements while including other essential minerals. The initiative is part of Australia's broader effort to build resilience against disruption in global mineral supply chains. It comes ahead of a meeting between Anthony Albanese and Donald Trump in Washington, where resource security is expected to be a key topic. The move also follows export restrictions by China, which currently controls over 90% of the world's processed rare earth. Australian officials are engaging with allies such as Europe, Japan, South Korea, and the United States to ensure stable market and diversified partnership. Instead of physically stockpiling minerals, Australia plans to implement a financial instrument model, securing future supply commitments directly with consumers. This approach would allow allied governments to underwrite supply volumes and stabilize markets without extensive public spending. Officials are also considering a floor price mechanism to protect against volatile price tied to China-based indices, aiming to establish a more stable and transparent global market for rare earth elements. Now, in the world of sport, UEFA is targeting a record of €5 billion broadcast deal as global streaming giant Netflix enters talks to acquire rights to stream one UEFA Champions League match per round starting from 2027 to 2028 season. The move would mark Netflix's first major foray into the live sport broadcasting, positioning it alongside established players like Amazon Prime and Apple TV, which have recently expanded into sports streaming. If successful, the partnership could reshape how fans watch Europe's elite football competition, blending Netflix's vast global audience with UEFA's commercial ambitions. The deal, still under negotiation, is part of UEFA's broader plan to diversify revenue streams and tap into younger, digitally active audiences. Nigeria's shot put star Chubuka Inwekechi has held his second record-breaking performance at the 2025 Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon, as the defining moment of a season. Inwekechi became the first African to surpass the 22-meter mark in men's shot put with an impressive 22.10-meter throw at Hayward Field in July, a feat that earned him third place in one of the most competitive one-day meets in history. Reflecting on the achievement in an interview marking of champions, Inwekechi said the throw represented years of persistence, discipline, and belief. The 31-year-old described it as a career milestone that validated his journey in the sport and reinforced Africa's growing presence in the global athletic stage. And that's a wrap on the news, but before we go, here's a recap of the top stories. President Tinubu arrives in Rome for a Kaaba summit focused on tackling escalating security challenges in West Africa. Livestock farmers urge federal government to grant firearm licenses for self-defense amid rising attacks. Algeria signs $5.4 billion oil and gas exploration deal with Saudi Arabia's Midad Energy. President Donald Trump escalates global trade war as reciprocal tariffs hit 69 nations. And in exciting world of sport, UEFA target records €5 billion deal as Netflix seeks rights to stream one Champions League match per round from 2027 to 2028. Many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SOUQ News Television. I am Olumide Shokoya. Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC. ADSC is an organization focused on training and research to advance sustainable development and growth in Africa. We exist to facilitate customized training, research, and study exchanges worldwide on leadership, management, and critical development issues. The center offers a platform for the exchange of ideas and best practices. Our comprehensive services encompass research, consultancy, capacity building, training, and education programs, as well as publishing and disseminating development-related knowledge. Our faculty consists of experts and researchers with extensive experience in policy formulation, implementation techniques, and monitoring and evaluation. Our methodology involves talks, individual and group exercises, games, video screenings, and discussion seminar sessions in a cozy atmosphere, making learning enjoyable for our participants. For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website at www.adstudycenter.com to learn more about our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
The National Assembly, in collaboration with the African Development Studies Center, ADSC, held a 5-day national capacity building workshop on treaties, agreements, and protocols for federal MDAs, with the theme, Enhancing Institutional Capacity for Effective Treaty Negotiation, Implementation, and Oversight in Nigeria. Honorable Barrister Rabiu Yusuf, Chairman of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocols, and Agreements in the 10th Assembly, highlighted the importance of strengthening the skills of key government officials in treaty processes.
At this particular moment of our country, we need a situation whereby all the stakeholders involved in external engagement with other countries, particularly state and the federal governments, and mostly MDAs of the at national level, to ensure that they are aware, they know what it takes, they know how it will be, and they know what it takes to ensure the institutionalized democracy and the legal approach as far as ratification, engagement, domestication of treaties. That is why the 10th National Assembly, under the able leadership of the Right Honorable Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, mandated our committee, pursuant to Section 12 sub 2 of the Constitution, that we should reach out to all necessary stakeholders who are personally stakeholders on this engagement to ensure they know how it takes and they know how to execute it. Basically, that is the reason we are conducting this exercise.
Actually, I think there is no point for me to deliver my remark at this time, because I'm very much aware that my remarks have been delivered instead of distinction. So in either words, I will just say I really sincerely appreciate your presence in this program, and I believe it will go far in helping the system, stimulating the system, and work for the Nigerian progress. So I wish you a fruitful discussion and a successful outcome. Thank you very much.
The major challenge, everybody is going silo, in the sense that we are not trying to bring ourselves into the same table to ensure that before you find any entity, be it state, local governments, or federal entity, as far as engagement is concerned with other outside worlds, you need to know there are provisions of the Constitution which you need to comply. Failure to comply with that provision of the Constitution, whatever you do, it will go to a nullity, invalid, and is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. And to the extent of that inconsistency, it is null and void, and of no effect whatsoever. So we're trying to avoid this scenario whereby at national level or at international fora, Nigeria will be embarrassed because the stakeholders, the principal actors, they didn't even know what they are doing. So that is why we decided at this particular moment it is rife and necessary to ensure that we engage with unnecessary stakeholders. That is the basic reasons for engaging these activities. Actually, I recommend their effort to any other entity, because if you can see, most of them, they are legal luminaries. They know their audience, they know what they are doing. So I really appreciate, they did a very wonderful job. And I sincerely appreciate. That's the main reason that I say I need to be here in Lagos, at least to supervise the happening in Lagos, and I'm impressed. Engagement with outside world it is two ways. It is going to be either bilateral or multilateral. So with this kind of workshop or with this kind of discourse, we believe the principal actors will now know what it takes to enter a treaty. And if they comply with what they are taught in this session, if they advise their principal when they go back to their respective MDA on the right way to go, I believe most of the treaties will be legally binding in Nigeria, provided they follow the procedure laid down by the Constitution. The future is bright. And the future, we will ensure in the future that all the treaties, all the agreements all the international protocols have been observed to the latter, have been protected and imposed as it is enshrined in the Constitution. And with this kind of workshop, we believe we will create a series of avenues whereby we will engage other parties, other necessary stakeholders. We just set the ball rolling, and we will be there, inshallah.
Also sharing insights on the workshop, the clerk of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocols and Agreements discussed the value of the training in improving the understanding and application of international agreements across MDAs. He noted that the engagement served as an eye-opener, equipping participants with tools for more effective negotiation and oversight.
I'm a Nigerian, I'm a citizen of Nigeria, and I want Nigeria to benefit from its interaction with the international community, and it starts from things like this. For us to be able to interact well, we need to know what it entails to engage in the international community. When we are talking about treaties, what does it entail to enter into treaties? How do we do that? How do we negotiate? How do we implement? How do we oversight as a parliament? So it is my duty as a clerk of the committee to advise the chairman and the committee members on how to go on all these issues, and also very instrumental to the organization of this workshop today. Our partners, the facilitators, are very, very excellent. We appreciate them, and it's also a collaborative effort between us and them. And so far, so good. What we have ensured so far has been fantastic. The participants are very, very impressed. I myself am impressed. And I also there are some things I'm taking home. For instance, now, Nigerians used to think before that our negotiators who negotiate treaties will just go abroad, go on tea party, shopping, but it's not more the case. By what I'm seeing here now, I can see experts, technocrats who know their honors, who take the bull by the horn and do what's supposed to do. That one has been established. Even our facilitators can attest to that as well. Another thing is that the quality of ideas being shown and being given us here is very, very apt to our situation presently, so that we can apply in our situation in Nigeria. And going forward, if this lesson continues, it's going to impact a lot, because the MDs, many of the MDs are here, even state governments, like Kogi State Government is here, the SSG is here, the Attorney General of Plateau State was also here, and also some top directors in the federal MDA, they are here. So it's a high-class, high-level engagement workshop. We are in a political environment, I must tell you that. But we, technocrats, are supposed to be the advisors and movers of policies. So they don't need to bend. They need to stick to the rule. And I also to advise our government, our leaders, that as well as they are making policies, they should also consider the benefits, the interest of the country, not just politics. They should not play politics with it. They should consider the interest of the country first, and also the people. It's an appeal that everybody that has a responsibility to do, either in the public service, or in private sector, in government, do your responsibility as much as you can, in a good faith, in a sincerity. Don't put your personal interests above national interests.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here to make a closing remarks on behalf of His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, 10th National Assembly, Right Honorable Taji Abbas. He has mandated me to deliver this goodwill closing remarks. We appreciate your time, your dedication, and your efforts in trying to attend this program and attentively pay attention to the discourse and further issue being deliberated here. And it is believed that this message you have learned here, or what you have learned here, will be passed towards your chief executive officers, and at the same time you will guide them achieving the necessary mandates in deciding issues of treaties, publication of treaties, and what have you. So at this juncture, on behalf of the right honourable Speaker, we wish you a safe return to your various destinations, and we believe you will pass the message to all others necessary stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much indeed. My name is Stephen Kola Balogun. I happen to be a lawyer, and should I call myself a pseudo-politician? Not quite a politician, but I've served in government before, and I'm delighted to be here. You know. Well, thank you very much. Well, yes, is it my family or the wider family? I mean, like I said, I'm the son of Chief Dr. Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Like I said, he was a former politician, a frontline politician. He was the General Secretary of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, later National Council of Nigerian Citizens. He was the General Secretary of that party for about 8 years. From there, he was appointed by SOUQ to become a federal minister. He was initially a federal minister without portfolio. Consequently, after that, he became acting minister for labor, social services, and then he became Nigeria's first federal minister for information in 1956. He held that portfolio till 1958. Thereafter, he resigned from government. He had disagreement with the party. And Tafawa Balewa felt that he was a useful politician that could be sent to Ghana. And he went to Ghana to find out what was. Ghana was a bit ahead of us in terms of politics at the time. And I think it's fair to say they got independence just before us. And Tafawa Balewa wanted someone to understudy, to find out what we're doing. So he sent Kola Balogun there. Initially, he was commissioner, and later, when we gained independence in 1960, he became high commissioner. Shortly after that, when we became independent, he yearned to come home. He wanted to take part in the new political atmosphere at the time. He asked the Prime Minister to relieve him, to let him come back, and he did come back home. And immediately he took up the position of being chairman of the National Shipping Line. That was a position he held on to until the military struck in 1966. But even then, when the military did strike in 1966, he still continued. I think General Debayo of blessed memory invited him to join his cabinet, and he served as a commissioner for about 3 years or more. I think he was commissioner for health and was commissioner for education. Later, he also became chairman of the sketch group of companies as well. And that was about it. I think after his stint in government, he decided to go and do a PhD at the University of Ibadan. And then he went back into private legal practice. And then he started this agitation for the creation of Osun State. He and a few others set up the movement. He was the chairman of the movement. And then to the glory of God, in 1991, Osun State was created. And that's it.
Tell us about mommy.
Well, yes, my mother. Well, in those days, the women once were not so much in the forefront, But my mother has been my bedrock. She stood by me, and she has backed me in most of the things I've set out to do, And she's still alive. She's 89 this year, and she's still doing well, and she's still
and your wife
going
and
strong.
The kids?
Yes, my children. Yes, I have 3 girls, 3 daughters. My oldest is 31. You know, she studied at King's College London. She did reasonably well. She got a 7th class offer. Proud of her. She's an art curator today. And I have twin girls as well who are also in university now, that they haven't graduated yet. One of them is in Oxford University. She's studying history and politics. And the other is in Cambridge University. She's studying human, social, and political sciences. So, yeah. I did. I mean, my father, Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory, yes, he was in the first cabinet in the First Republic, the first ever cabinet Nigeria had, and he served as the Federal Minister of Information and Research. As a matter of fact, he happened to be Nigeria's first information minister. Later, T.O.S. Benson, of course, became the independent Nigeria's first information minister, but independent Nigeria. But Nigeria's first ever information minister happened to be Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. No, I didn't. I took an opposite route from my father. My father went into politics immediately after he finished his education, and then he now ventured into law a little bit later. I decided to look at things differently. I thought that after academics I should practice law a bit, and that's what I've been doing. But at some point, I think that was in about 2011, I was called upon to serve in the Osun State government as a commissioner, and I took up that opportunity, and I enjoyed myself. Well, I am in the sense that I'm 65 years old now, and I think it's fair to say that we belong to, well, I won't say the first set, but one of those who benefited from Nigerian education. I schooled here. I went to secondary school in the West. I went to the University of Ife, went to the Nigerian Law School. And I think it's fair to say that all the schools at that time were of high quality, produced top quality students who went on to make names for themselves, not just here in Nigeria, but also abroad. I think we still do that now, even though the standard of education has dropped. The sad thing about it is that Nigeria could have been a lot better in terms of the potential, because Nigeria does have a lot of potential. We do have very brilliant young men and women, you know, and I just think that if we had invested more in education, that we could have, the sky would have been the limit, actually. Well, my take on this is that it's the system of law itself. As a young lawyer, I experienced a few challenges myself, and I think one of the obvious challenges is the appeal structure. It's too easy to appeal against judgments. At the same time, when you file actions in court, there are no penalties for costs. In other words, I can file a frivolous action. I could insult you, as an example, and then you could sue me. And I say to myself, well, I'm going to eke it out. I'm going to take it. You're going to have to take me all the way to the Supreme Court. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. On the other hand, I could also file a frivolous application against you. And then filing a frivolous application, I could call you something you are not. I could defame you. And in so doing, you expect at least that once you prove your case, that I will be made to pay the penalties for filing frivolous applications. But that doesn't happen. And then, of course, the conditions of the judges. I mean, the judges are still writing longhand. They do trials, they sit there, they listen to witnesses, give evidence, and they have to write all these things down longhand. So there's so many challenges that has hampered the progress of law. And there hasn't been enough investment, I must say. Well, I agree with that, and I'm going to give an example as to how that I think we could possibly do that. Now, the Supreme Court hears everything. It's the final court in Nigeria, so they're going to hear issues related to criminal law, civil matters, constitutional matters, as you know, all these matters that's got to do with elections, so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, when we have an election cycle, the legal system slows down because the judges are hampered. They're too busy listening to the various appeals from the various states and the federal government to do with the elections. So as a consequence, the other matters to do with shipping, banking, criminal law are put on the back burner. I think we need what you call a constitutional court, whereby which the judges in the Supreme Court are divided. So you have those judges whose responsibility it is entirely to deal with constitutional matters, and then you have another set whose duty will be to deal with shipping, banking, civil matters, criminal matters, and so on and so forth. So I believe it's high time Nigeria has a constitutional court to try and aid the Supreme Court with the workload they have, which is, quite frankly, quite a bit. Well, Nigerians, with respect, are very brilliant, very intelligent, and they are very aware. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a tailor, you're a driver, you're a lawyer, engineer, they are quite well informed. And the truth of the matter really is that this is the longest republic we've had. This republic started in 1999, and this is 2025, so 26 years. Nigeria's never had a republic this long. But the main flaw is the one you just mentioned. The fact that that constitution that was bequeathed to us by the military in 1999 was never really approved by the people. Now, that doesn't make sense, and that's unfair. In fairness, we ought to be able to look at the constitution, improve upon it, and put our own input into it. Now, there's a way around that, and I've always believed, many people oppose this, but I'm of the view that what Nigerians need to have is a referendum. Have a referendum to ask the Nigerian people whether they want to persist with the 1999 constitution, or do they want to drop a new one? If the answer to that question is yes, we want to drop a new constitution, then that puts paid to the 1999 constitution, and then you can now have a system, a constituent assembly, whatever the case may be, where people will sit around the table and fashion out a new constitution. If the people say no, that means they've indirectly approved the 1999 constitution, and then we continue with it. But what we can't do is continue having this debate, these arguments as to whether the 1999 constitution has been approved by Nigerians or not, because it has not been. So I think the way around that is to ask the Nigerian people through a referendum, asking them whether they want to persist with this constitution. If they say no, then we have a new one. If they say yes, we continue with the old one. And that ends the debate. Every system has its merits. Every system has its advantages and disadvantages. To some extent, the presidential system of government has an advantage. It has the advantage in the sense that it has brought government nearer to the people. So the people of Osun, from where I'm from, for instance, now, have their own state. Same thing can be said, it's been replicated across the country. However, the drawbacks, the disadvantage is the fact that it's extremely expensive. Now, look at Nigeria, for instance, now. We have 36 state governments. So that means we have 36 governments in Nigeria. If you add the government of Abuja, if you add the federal government, that's 38. Now, each one of these governments have some form of legislature, judiciary, an executive as well, local government, civil service. It's too expensive. Look, in America, where we borrowed this system from, the states came together to form a union. This is totally different. We are doing it the opposite way. So we've had a structure that we're now going back. So at the end of the day, many of these state governments are still dependent on the federal government. And as a consequence, the kind of progress we ought to be making, we're not quite making it. So I personally, and this is a personal view because others would disagree, I would prefer that we reduce the size of government by having some kind of regional structure. And I believe that that will reduce the burden of governments. And if we can reduce the burdens of government, we can use this money to do many other things. And I also think it will also improve standards as well. Not just standards of government or parliamentary standards or whatever the case may be, but there be less people involved in the political system. And that would help us a great deal. Well, I think it's fair to say that since 1999, we haven't had any new state creation. I know there's been agitation for the creation of states, but there hasn't been any. The process for creating a state is quite cumbersome. It's not easy. I think it's in Section 8 and 9 of the Constitution. I don't think it's something we should be looking at. I think, like I said to you earlier, I think we should be trying to reduce the number of states, and I think some kind of regional structure whereby which we can monitor better what's going on rather than having more states. So I personally would not encourage the creation of more states, no. In the 1950s, we had 3 regions, if I'm correct. Those regions were the West, the East, and the North. We had the colony of Lagos, but if I'm right, I think it was the Macpherson Constitution, I think it is, I'm not too sure, that now put Lagos under the Western region. Now, when Lagos was placed under the Western region, lots of people were not happy about that. I remember my father was in the NCNC. The NCNC people were not particularly pleased, neither were the NPC, because they felt that Lagos belonged to everybody. Like I said, lots of people from different walks of life, different tribes, different backgrounds, and all schooled. I mean, Zik schooled in Lagos. He went to MBHS. So it was the issue was sent to London to arbitrate. I think it was Oliver Littleton that arbitrated over the matter. And it was decided that Lagos should stand on its own, that Lagos should not be merged with any of the regions. And that was how Lagos was able to free itself from the shackles of the Western region. It's fair to say that the position of the NCNC was actually argued in London by my father. That's why I'm quite familiar with this. But talking about Lagos, when the military, after that, we had what you called a minister for Lagos. I think there was Ribadu, and I think there was one other person, but I think it was Yaradua, not the same Yaradua, but his father. And then later after that, when the military struck, they created the state of Lagos. So the issue of giving Lagos special status has more or less been taken over by events. Lagos is a state, and as a state, it's still home to different people with different backgrounds, from different tribes, and it's thriving. I think it's fair to say that Lagos is probably the most prosperous state in the country, and it's just a question of its continuing with good governance and improving the strides they have made. Once again, let's go back to the past. We had what we used to call the House of Chiefs, wasn't it? And in those House of Chiefs, many of the members of the House of Chiefs were people, were traditional rulers, chiefs from different backgrounds, and they had a say in the running of the affairs of state. You know, it's like it was more or less akin to the House of Lords. So it wasn't necessarily the chamber whereby which the activities of day-to-day governance took place, but they could always refer issues to them. And I think that if we change our structure of governance, and if, that's a big if, then yes, we can have something like that. We can have a second chamber, which is more or less advisory in nature, similar to the House of Lords, whereby which we will have obas and chiefs and people of influence who will be able to advise government from day to day from the experiences and the way forward, but not necessarily binding. I think that's important. Their decisions won't necessarily be binding on us, but at least they'll be able to share their views and experiences with the people. That's a big issue. I was commissioner for youth in Osun about 10 years ago under Rauf Aregbesola, and it was an issue we took quite seriously. In Osun State, we had quite a number of youths who are unemployed, and the governor thought, what can I possibly do to give them something to do, to keep them employed? So he created what we call the Osun State Youth Empowerment Scheme. Now, under the State Youth Empowerment Scheme, unemployed youths were given particular tasks in states. Help us sweep the roads. Some were part-time lecturers. Some were doing all sorts of things. They were given a stipend. It wasn't a full-blown salary. Well, the salary, although the stipend was enough to keep them to be able to buy things, to be able to buy themselves drinks and food, and kept them occupied until they could find themselves a job. And I think the federal government could follow that kind of scheme, set up a youth empowerment scheme whereby which unemployed youths are given things to do. There's so many things that need to be done in Nigeria. You know, there's so many gaps whereby which the youths can help do that. In the interim, while they find themselves something more gainful or something more permanent. So it's a question, it's for government to do. It's for government to think of a way of helping out the youths. And of course, there should be partnerships, a partnership between the government and private enterprise to try and encourage them to take on more of our youths, and not necessarily those who have schooled abroad, who they think are probably the best in terms of employment. No, we have many here who can do a good job as well. Sustaining democracy is about discipline. It's about the people being disciplined. It's about those who rule us being disciplined. I started out by telling you that this is the longest government we've had. It's the longest republic we've had. We've had democracy now since 1999, 26 years. If you go back to the days of independence, there's been no republic that has been this long. So it shows that the people have embraced democracy. They've come to it's part of us now. They've come to enjoy it. Yes, there are hiccups in terms of the fact that we could do a lot better in terms of how we implement things. But in terms of the people yearning for democracy and imbibing it, I think we've done very well. And what we just need to do is just to try and perfect it. One of the ways, like I said much earlier, is to perhaps take a second look at the Constitution, see where areas where we can improve, and try and make people happy, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. But I don't think democracy is going anywhere. I think it's here to stay.
let me first of all congratulate Nigerians for the 65th anniversary of our independence. Independence is a freedom that is given from colonial rule, which can be termed self-rule, self-governance. And since 1960, we've been having self-governance. What is it really self-governance? That's another debate for another day. But from what happened, we were very young at that time when independence came to the country. I'm very, very aware of the 1963 declaration of Western Nigeria, declaration of republic when Nigeria became a republic. That was when I can physically or personally remember. But then, a lot of things had gone underground. The joy of the independence has always been cut short and is not getting to the expectations of the people. It's difficult. The main thing is that every time a government comes in, we seem to be in a quagmire of difficulties, and we tend to go back to the past government that we said that they were not good and feel that they were better than what we have today. It's not only, all governments are always better, except the one I can pick out is during the military regime, 1975 to 1976, about 9 months or so. And maybe because that government did not last long. So maybe that is why we still feel that that government was one of the governments that really met the needs of the people. Throughout the years, like I said, we have always had shortcomings, but we have not been able to keep the standards, certain standards that we are on ground, and that is the main problem. Everybody wants to have his own way. The military had not really helped us. They have, every time there is a military coup, Nigeria is set back to 1960. We are reset to 1960. And the 1960 of that time is different from the 1960 of today. That is, when you compare them, what we have on ground today is quite different from what we had on ground in 1960. That means we are starting again. But we have to develop in our own way. We have to be open-minded, and we have to think positive. We have to think about their future, and that is the only thing that galvanizes the country. Now, whatever standard we have today, in 20 years' time, another generation will come up. And that generation, their needs are always different. So that is why we have to look for the future. But today in Nigeria, we are still solving the problem of 1970. Why I'm saying that is that after the Civil War, the Nigeria decided to move forward. In the process of moving forward, we forgot a lot of things. And that was the time the oil boom came in. And we forgot a lot of things we were doing at that time. Take a graduate at that time. A graduate in 1980 receives roughly 300 naira, which was about almost $500. But let's say in our naira, he has enough to feed his family, to start a family. That is a graduate. But today, a graduate doesn't have enough to even take him to visit his family in his hometown. As a graduate, you are entitled to a car loan, which is your annual salary at that time. A car was about 3,600, and your 300 naira, 300 naira salary is 3,600 per annum, and you take a loan for a car. Once it's established that it is yours and you bring it to the office, you will be given a car allowance. And that car allowance, maybe about 50 naira or 60 naira. And when you look at it, they are deducting 50 naira or so, or 54 naira from your salary for every month for 4 or 5 years that you are taking the loan. And they are giving you 50 naira. So in 3 years, you are promoted to level 9. And on level 9, you are entitled to a car allowance of 72 naira. So it means that just like if you have been given a car for almost free. And those are some of the things that I look back to. Those are some of the things we enjoyed at that particular time. And it started eroding through government policies. And we now have this problem in which we cannot get to the minimum wage in those days was about 90 naira. When religion is a personal thing, that's the belief of the Yoruba. That is why in the same house, you can have the husband being Onishogo, the wife being Oya or Shun devotee, the uncle being a Christian, and another person being a Muslim. No, we all grew up together. During the Muslim festivities, we go together. I had an aunt in Ajegule. And during our holidays in those days, we used to go to Ajegule and we go to the mosque. Within that 1 month we are staying with them, we go to the mosque with them. We pray together. Even though most of the things, they started teaching us the alif, ba, ta, sa, and whatever, the alphabets in Arabic. But most of the time, by the time I go back home, I forget about it. And when they come to our place, they go to church with us. Even most of our Muslim cousins, they school with us. My mother will go and pick them in their homes, and they will school, they stay with us. We are about 20 in the house while we are living at that time. So it is not religious tolerance, as I will say. I will say, I've forgotten the word now, maybe like a respect. Well, if I'm tolerating you, it means you are bad. You get me? If I'm tolerating you, it means that I'm tolerating something that is bad that you are doing, but I'm not talking. But if I'm doing maybe mutual respect, yes, it's mutual respect. All religions in Lagos or in Yoruba land, particularly, they had mutual respect. When it is time for the Egungun festival, we will come out with our families, with them, with those that are in the Egungun. When it's time for the Ifa festival, we go to them. When it is Ileya, when it is Christmas, we were all one in Lagos Island, and even in Lagos at that particular time. The greatest disaster for Nigeria was the introduction of the presidential system. Let us start from the economics. In parliamentary system, you just have to win your constituency, and that's all. You win your constituency, you spend within your constituency, and that is all. When you get to the house, when you are not to pick the speaker or the leader of the house, that is when you interact with others. But in presidential system, you have the whole country is your constituency. The whole country is your constituency. Let's go to the grassroots. And the grassroots, the unit is the family. The family unit has broken down. Not to talk less about of the extended family unit, or where a community is served like a family. The youths are not being taken care of as in those days. In those days, we never knew whether you are from anywhere in the world or in Nigeria. We interact, we never knew. In sports, we never knew where our people come from. In school, we never knew. At times, 60 years later, I'm just discovering that somebody is from Asaba, one of my classmates. Discover is from, we had the Odumekos, we had the Bazunos in those days. Went to school together, but we never even knew that he was not Yoruba or from Western Nigeria. We were all together. The unity, our unity has been eroded. Today, most schools, there are no boarding schools again. And that is you discover that you are only limited to your area, except when you are going to higher institutions. Even some higher institutions are within certain areas. So we don't interact, we don't intermix, we don't even know the culture of other people. But in those days, it was a little bit different. We have to start reshaping a lot of things. And in the reshaping, it's not for us. It's not for the present generation. It's to look for the future generation. In the socialist life, in those days, they used to talk about, what do you call it now? Absence of manual labor. That is, machines will do the work. We are human beings will sit down and just be looking, and machines will do the work. We are getting to that stage very soon. Even we are almost there. In those days, we used to have what we call telephone operators. That type of job is gone. In those days, every office has its secretary, or what do you call it, a secretary that we type, do all these things. Now, that job is gone. The MD, the secretary is just to make arrangements. In those days, you have to have dictators, you have to dictate messages, you have to take minutes. Now, AI is doing everything. So there's going to be a lot of job losses. But in creating new jobs, that's a problem. The problem, and at the rate our population is going, is continuing to have a lot of jobless people. But how do we manage it? How do we get to that? That's the problem.
I was born on the 16th day of October, 63 years ago. I'm from Opobo, yeah, and went to school. I'm from River State, from Opobo in River State. Went to school in Port Harcourt, lived in Port Harcourt all my life, from primary to secondary school to A-levels. Then after A-levels, I got admission to Unilag. Immediately after Unilag, I got married. And I've lived in Lagos ever since. Well, it was fun for us because me and my husband were very young. My husband was 25, I was 21 and all that. But we learned on the job. We were friends. We were friends for 3 years when I was in Unilag, university. And we came out, we got married. So we're like children that just got married. But I had my parents. My parents were his very good friends. So when I get naughty, he would report me to my parents. When I didn't know these kind of duties were demands of somebody's wife, they would tell me this is my responsibility. I'm like, no. I will agree to some, I will not agree to some. But I mean, it was fun. We had our ups and downs, but kind of pushed through it. And then the children started coming, and it was a different ballgame. You know, when you come from that kind of family, it's like part of your system. You don't really regard it as anything anymore. But sometimes I get the shock of my life because there was a time my in-laws came to Opobo for one ceremony, and I saw the king. And he gave me a hug and he gave me a pick. And they were like, whoa, the other Benin won't even shake your hands, as a woman. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's the same family, you understand? So we're used to that. I think we take it for granted. But maybe some other people say, you must call me a princess, you must call me that. I'm not into all those kind of things. I'm not at all. I've never been. So I can't start tomorrow. But great King Jaja of Opobo, my great-great-grandfather. And my children, when they studied it in school, they went to Corona school. When they studied, came, Mom, we're telling our teacher and our classmates that this King Jaja of Opobo, they told them about King Jaja of Opobo in school. And they said, that's my mommy's great-grandfather. Like, whoa, no, it was like a big deal to them. For us, Absolutely, upbringing and my personal choice too, because you could be brought up one way and choose to go another way. You understand? One of my philosophies in life is like this: you're not the tallest in the world, you're not the shortest, you're not the prettiest, you're not the ugliest, you're not the richest, you're not the poorest. Oh, of course, get with it. Do you understand? If you're looking for beauty, there are more beautiful women than you say. If you're looking for ugly, there are uglier women. If you're looking for tall, you're looking for it. So what is it? Do you understand? You didn't come into this world with anything. You're not going to go with anything. So just be grateful to God for whatever you have or whatever you are. Work towards improving on it, improving your relationship with God Almighty and improving your relationship with your fellow human beings. That's my philosophy in life. So what's the point of carrying all the air and chips on your shoulder? It makes life heavier for you. Seven is my favorite number. It's a number for perfection. And I was born on the 16th of October. My star sign is Libra. We're always looking for perfect balance in everything. It's just an influence from the horoscopes, I'm told. But J is my husband's name, D is my name, and 7 is my favorite number. Lazy way of forming the name of a company, isn't it? So I did, and it stuck. And I knew I was going to go into couture, so that was it. Easy. I was a victim of circumstance. I keep saying it. I didn't really come into business to be a fashion designer, to go into fashion, and creativity has always been something that's innate. Okay, even before I started making clothes or doing this, I used to always give designers the styles that I want them to make for me. I didn't have tailors, but when I finished my NYSC at Nigerian Television Authority in Victoria Island, I decided I wasn't going to work there. I wanted to work in a more organized setup. You understand? Because of management traineeship, because I never worked all my life. My parents were very protective. I'm the last girl in the family. They were always very protective. So I said I wanted to work somewhere, and I prayed about it. And I got into Unilever. Then it was called Lever Brothers. And for 5 years, but the intensity of work there became a bit much for me because I was a young mother. I had 2 kids then. Was going on having the 3rd one, so it became a bit time. Sometimes Unilever was one of the biggest. When the international directors come in, we used to be the ones to host them with all the Unilever affiliates. Linters, the advertising agency used to be all the Nigerian breweries, USC, you understand, AJC, we're all the Unilever group. Sometimes I won't get home until 3 a.m. when we're hosting, and with kids in the house, it can be a bit much. So I'm like, I prayed about it and I decided something has to give. It's either your family, your children you will not give them the attention they need then, and they were growing fast, or your job will suffer, and then you will not be happy whichever way. So I decided, you know what, let my priority be my family, and I decided to go back. And I put in my resignation. That was not what I'm fine. When I did, my chairman refused to accept the resignation. So I had to use another way to encourage him to accept it. So I left Unilever. I said, okay, I wasn't the type of person that was suited for being a housewife. I wanted to do the kind of business I would do, but still have 100% time for the kids. So when the kids said, they're having something in school, I'm there, okay? I decided I was going to just market corporate gifts. When I was in Unilever, I was the assistant corporate affairs manager in charge of press. So, and being in Unilever at the corporate affairs level, I already knew a lot of companies. So I used that opportunity to get back to those companies and introduce my new business. And in the first year, I actually made more money than my 5-year stint in Unilever. So that was enough encouragement. You make more money doing your own business. You have more time for your kids, for your family, and for yourself. And you travel quite a bit because you have to go and buy the corporate gift. So it was a win-win. Then, a few years down the line, the president, Olusegun Obasanjo, came in and said they were doing backward integration and they were going to stop the importation of all this corporate gift and a lot of other things. So we were actually forced to look inwards. And when we started looking inwards, that's when it hit me that apart from Big, that was being produced by Eleganza, we're not really manufacturing anything in Nigeria apart from textiles and maybe I think Eleganza was doing food flask or something. And which corporate body do you want to give as end of year gift? So what we had to do now, because a lot of my clientele were like Shell, Chevron, I started looking inwards. I said, okay, if I have to do something, I can do beddings, pillowcase trimmings, table covers, table placemat, napkins with fabrics like Ashok and Adira. I can do jute bags, you know. It came to me. So I had to go and buy one machine and employed one tailor. So sometimes they will call me. I did some samples. So even in Abuja, when they were going to have, like I remember the West African Women's Affairs, they had a conference. So they wanted jute bags, and we had about 1,000 or 2,000 jute bags, and that was quite nice. Plus, apart from the end of year activities. So that's it. But you know, after those periods, you have periods of lull, like you're not using the machine and the tailor. You have to be paying tailor for doing it. I'm like, why am I going to these people to make my clothes? Tailor, oh yeah, this is the style I want. I started first by giving some of my clothes, repeat it. You did well. So I started designing. I could sketch very well. I was a science student in school, but I could sketch really well. So I was sketching, would do well. And sometimes when I wear the clothes and I go to supermarket, some women will just call me, hey, I really like this thing you're wearing. Please, where did you make it? I'm like, okay, I'll give you the address. I gave them the address. They started coming. Before I could say that, within 1 month, I had over 50 women I had to make clothes for. And the one tailor was no longer enough. I had to employ 2 others. That was how we started. From 2 to 4, then I had a whole factory before you could see that. I started making school uniforms, started doing all kinds of things. And then some of the magazines, like Genevieve magazine, looked at me and like, are you sure you make this outfit? I thought you were a broadcaster. I thought you sell. I said, yes, I did. So I did some photo shoot session for her, and I modeled the clothes actually. And whoa, I started getting calls from Paris, from the UK. I did DC Fashion Week, you know, I was just, and they will pay your ticket, pay your hotel, please come and showcase for us. Some will even say, please come and open the show for us. Some say, we want you to close this. I'm like, okay. There are places that I would never have thought of going to, like Burkina Faso. They will buy me the top fashion designers that would, when the Alfadi does this, they want every 4 years. Alfadi in Niger. The Niger government sponsors it. He calls all, including Elisab, every international designer, they will go, especially the Moroccan ones, those North African ones, Indians. So they invite one designer from each country. So they used to call me to come because of what I used to work a lot with Ankara and Ashok, and I do international acclaimed, how would I put it, couture outfits with Ankara, big hats, funny looking, structured clothes and all that. So that was how it went, you know. And I did all the magazines. I've won all the awards. So after a while, you know, I started thinking of concentrating on exports. In the process of doing that, my husband took ill. After 2 years, we lost him. So when I came back home, I gave a lot of things a lot of thought. My kids were still in school. My daughter got married. She was in Australia already. And then my kids, my two boys were still in school. So I said, look, this fashion design thing is not going to pay school fees in pounds sterling and dollars. So I said to myself, you know what? Why don't you give the man hours to the industry, the family business that were yielding the most income? That was how I started kind of just saying, you know what, let me just minimize it a bit. My core clients were still coming. So I kept the tailors, my experienced tailors that worked with for years. I kept few of them. And I kind of cut down on that business. I said, you know what, let me just go and face the family business and do this for the people who really know what I'm doing. And word of mouth goes. So I'm still doing that, but my priority is really not that now. When you look at me the first time you see me, you see a fragile woman that don't like to sweat, that is spoiled, that like to be kept. I'm like, what? Absolutely not. My husband didn't want me to do anything. He just felt he wanted to spoil me. I said, that's not how to love me at all. Please. It's either you kind of understand the person I am. I'm a very creative mind. This mind has to keep working, or I'll make life miserable for you, you know. What I will advise, even women who are willing to work, you don't even do one job. You must get at least more than 2 streams of income. Otherwise, you will not make ends meet. That is the truth of today's world. You understand? Then those ones that want to be kept, no matter how wealthy your husband is, wealth is not static. Some people start today. When they retire, everything goes downhill. Some people mean well. They love you. They want to take care of you. But nature calls. They part ways. Some marry other women. Some leave. Some die. You understand? So anything can happen. I will advise them, everybody, try to be as independent as you can. Financially independent. I think you actually earn more respect when you do that. And then also, when things don't work out too well for the husband, no matter how rich you are, you don't have to put him through too much stress. You can take care of yourself, you take care of him, you encourage him, but let him not feel that the world has come to an end. You know, a man feels happy when he knows that his back is covered, even when he's not making it. You understand? It doesn't make him lazy. It makes him very grateful. Yeah. So I will advise everybody, get something doing. Do something that will enable you earn good income if you can. Do something that you also enjoy doing. I've always believed in garbage in, garbage out. Yeah? Garbage in is the stress abound. You cannot control that. But you can control your attitude towards stress. Stress is the #1 killer and ages of everything in this world. It's your attitude to stress that you have to manage, and that depends on you. What you put in your mouth also depends on you. Your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. You have to be loving. You have to be forgiving. You understand? All that depends on you. So it's actually you that decides whether you're going to age gracefully or you're not. Forget about the genes first. It's true. You understand? Some people are so malicious. When you offend them once, oh my goodness. They will carry it in their chest and the chest will be expanding and they won't sleep well and they begin to have problems. Meanwhile, the person you're angry with does not even know you exist. It's crazy. So for me, it's just be free and take life easy. Take it as it comes and always be grateful to God. I'm too honest and straightforward. It's either I will be killed immediately or because I will tell you the truth no matter whose axe is God. I don't think I can play politics. I'm not a politician at all. I am a very straight shooter. I will tell you to your face when you're doing stupid things. That was my relationship with my mom, my dad, my husband. So most times, I'm the last girl in the house, so maybe when they were disciplining the first ones, by the time they got to my turn, they were a bit tired. So we could talk to my parents anyhow. But I don't do it to create whatever. I just feel that if anybody worth talking to, is worth talking to with honesty and integrity. And when you want to play politics, they will see something that is black. They will say it's yellow. I can't do that. For the love of me, I can't. So politics is not my call. And because of that, they will not allow your creativity to come out, your sincerity. What's the point? Yes. I'm actually planning some kind of, I met some of my old models that are doing very well. And you know, when you deal with a lot of these girls, some of them have traveled with me to Niger. Sometimes they'll tell you, bring 2 of your models. You know, some of them, we have very good relationship. We're going to do a reunion one of these days. It will be fun. And they are all calling, when are we going to do this? I say, don't worry, we'll get a reunion done. Because we need to revisit the fashion industry, see how things are going. They're doing well. The new ones are doing well. And I just pray that the environment will not discourage them, you know. It's not just Nigeria, it's the world. Whatever is happening in Nigeria is what the truth is. A crate of egg in Nigeria is still cheaper than a crate of egg in the US and in the UK, even with the exchange rate. So it's not just Nigeria, the world is experiencing some kind of. The way I see it is like the pangs of birth before the child finally comes. You know, that intense labor. And then when the child is born, everything is calm and beautiful, everybody's happy. I think we are just towards the end of the labor pain. It's going to get better, but we're going to pass through a lot of that before it gets better. And when it finally gets better, we'll all be smiling. But right now, the whole world, not just Nigeria, is crazy. If you look at international, listen to international news, it's actually crazier than here. I just pray. Yes, I live opposite, I won't even say it, on the street. One of the big men that live on that street, his birthday was yesterday, and the whole street was filled with beggars, hungry people. It was really crazy. I felt so bad. We were pushing each other, killing each other, fighting just to get a plate of jollof rice. It was very sad. It didn't used to be that bad. There were a few people who would come hang around, but the whole street, I couldn't move anywhere yesterday because of it. But I hope it gets better soon, so that the best in all of us can come. Because hunger and poverty can actually bring out the worst in people. Naturally, yes. I have an NGO that I do. What I do, I take girls, young girls that are not able to complete school because of poverty, and I educate them. You understand? I try to pay school fees, help people. I believe in education a lot. Yeah, because I don't believe in giving you the fish. I believe in teaching you how to fish. I have few of them from my place come stay with me. Some of them are able to stand the discipline some of them are not able. So the ones that are able to see, they stay and they do very well. Some of them I train from a distance and they do well. So I've had university graduates, I have A-levels, I have all kinds of things. That's what I do. And most people come to me naturally, not because I'm a trained mentor or anything. When you do anything out of love, an act of sincerity of purpose, and because they see you as genuine, they listen to you. You understand? When you mean well, you tell people the honest truth, and they, it's not easy sometimes, but yes, a kind of mentor.
At the core of what makes us human is our ability to pay attention, be present in our experiences, and channel our thoughts and actions towards meaningful goals. However, for individuals with ADHD, which is considered a neurodevelopmental disorder, a medical condition that affects the brain, this fundamental aspect of human nature is often disrupted, leading to difficulties in maintaining focus, controlling impulses, and regulating behaviors.
Hyperactivity disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder that occurs in children and adolescents. It's a problem that has to do with brain development and the brain function. And the ADHD symptoms range from inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. They may be very restless, fidgeting, and they're always on the move. And sometimes they may be climbing, jumping from here and there. That they may injure themselves in the process.
In life, which is consistent with what we now recognize as ADHD. The disorder is of 3 and 6, with symptoms such as difficulty in focusing, excessive movement inappropriate to the setting, and impulsive actions occurring without forethoughts. This ailment affects people of all ages, though most commonly diagnosed in children. The average age of onset is around 7 years, with symptoms significantly impacting various aspects of life. Approximately 5 to 10 of children worldwide are affected, with the highest prevalence rates observed in Africa at 8.5% and South America at 11.5%. Variations exist across different countries, with lower rates in Japan and Finland and higher rates in Jamaica and Thailand. In the United States, about 7% of children are diagnosed with this disorder, reflecting an average of prevalence globally.
Differentiate between ADHD and other neurodevelopmental disorders. It starts with comprehensive assessment. And when I talk about assessment, I mean assessment by child psychiatrists, assessment by child psychologists, and other professionals in the mental health team. And of course, there are some basic symptoms that are very clear and obvious. The clinical presentation, when you see a child that is hyperactive, that is impulsive, that is inattentive, that itself can give you a clue that that child may be having ADHD symptoms. And again, you also take further history. You may need to take, if there's a family history of ADHD in the setting, because if there's a family history of ADHD, the child may come up with ADHD in the nearest future.
Individuals affected faces challenges that extend into academic performance, work or personal relationships, and social domains. Some of the signs include constant fidgeting, impulsiveness, and difficulty completing tasks, alongside emotional struggles such as mood swings, low self-esteem, and frustration.
The diagnosis is made following a comprehensive assessment, and you also do some basic psychological investigations, and of course, by combining the report from the child psychiatrist and the child psychologist, you'll be very comfortable to make a diagnosis. And of course, I must say that there are some childhood disorders that may mimic ADHD, like learning disability, like autism spectrum disorders. But the symptoms of ADHD are so very obvious that when you see a child that is hyperactive and oftentimes restless, oftentimes impulsive and unable to follow instructions, that should give you a high index of suspicion that that child may be struggling with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
While it's not a physical ailment like a broken bone, it is a real condition that is frequently accompanied by other conditions such as major depressive disorder, anxiety, substance abuse, learning disabilities, conduct disorder, and oppositional defense disorder, which complicates the management and treatment of the disorder. Treatment for ADHD typically involves a combination of medical, therapy, and behavioral interventions. Stimulants are also the most commonly used, with 70 to 80% of children experiencing symptoms relief. Cognitive behavioral therapy, anger management, and family therapy are key in managing symptoms, along with educational interventions that enhance coping strategies and organizational skills. While these treatments help manage ADHD, they do not cure it, highlighting the need for ongoing support and personalized care. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD, is a complex condition with far-reaching effects on behavior, cognition, and emotional well-being. Continued research and effective treatments are vital in helping those affected lead fulfilling lives and contribute meaningfully to their society. Grace Komolafe, SOUQ News TV.
Fellow Nigerians, did you know that constituency and executive projects in your communities are not gifts from your legislators? They are projects sponsored by the legislators and funded by the federal government to improve your life and the lives of those around you. These projects belong to you. Without your vigilance, they might never be completed. Don't allow them to fade away into unfulfilled promises. Stand up, take ownership, monitor their progress, demand accountability, and report concerns to ICPC. Call our toll-free line now on 0800-2255-4272 or WhatsApp only on 0806-656-4726. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, with support from MacArthur Foundation and the Center for Democracy and Development in Africa, CDD.
From Dubai to Lagos, Nigeria, and across the globe, SOUQ News TV is your #1 station focusing on business, economy, and development. With global digital reach, we connect Africa's pulse to the world stage. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, and here we go beyond the headlines, from breaking news, in-depth conversational programs, to market analysis and indices. From policies affecting growth to unique documentaries, from live event coverage to bespoke productions, we deliver content that connects you to the world. At SOUQ News Television, we provide news surrounding business, economy, and development, infomercials and jingles that stand out, short and long-form documentaries crafted to international standards, independent production spaces with full technical support, special coverage for individual and corporate events, a special form of documentaries through our prestige package, Immortals, where we tell your story the way you'd love it, and business support services tailored for small enterprises. SOUQ News TV, powered by FemWatch Limited, also home to the Isle 95.9 FM Lagos and Kasua 99.7 FM Kano, and Emirate News Television Abuja, together forming Africa's trusted media powerhouse. Storytelling, coverage and connection that matters. SOUQ News TV, your home for business, economy, and development.